Hello? Yes. Yes.
We have achieved. Wow.
Okay, I don't know what happened there. I have no clue, but like you hit record and it went boom, and then I heard nothing.
I knew we were going to have problems today because
I have a head injury.
no, that's part of today has been cursed because I started out this morning putting grinding pepper onto my breakfast, the world's greatest breakfast, biscuits and gravy.
Yeah, okay.
And our grinder is one that the grinding mechanism's on the bottom, and then so is the cap that you unscrew to fill it with the peppercorns.
Right.
Well, when I was done, and we've had problems with this before, I turned it over to put it back on the counter, and that cap fell out and dumped all the peppercorns all over. And
that was an omen for sure.
It was. I knew today was going to happen like this. So, yeah, it's going to be this way the entire episode. I guarantee it.
Let's not tempt the gods. Let's get started before we get in real trouble here.
Yes, let's find a virgin we can sacrifice or something. If we can find a virgin. Anyway,
that puts me out. So sorry.
All right. Well, I'm ready if you are.
All right, let's go. Okay. Welcome to SteeleWatching, which is a podcast for Remington Steele fans. My name is Sara, and I am going to be the wet blanket this week.
And I'm Eric, and, well, it's not starting out good. I hope it gets better, but, you know, there's always room for deprovement.
Yeah, that's true. The beatings will continue until morale improves.
That's right.
I had told Steele Watchers when we started doing this that there was one episode.
Now, wait a minute.
Okay.
Before you start throwing me under the bus, I want to defend myself.
No. I wasn't going to throw you under the bus. You're safe. No bus.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. No. I was saying that 50. Stay above 50. Anyway. I told Steele Watchers months and years ago now, when we started doing this, that there was one episode of this series, just one, that I would skip if I were not having to watch it for the purpose of this podcast. It's the only episode that I would willingly skip. Okay?
And you probably told me which one it was.
I don't think I told anybody.
For some reason, I had it in my head that it was Bonds of Steel.
Yeah, no, I didn't tell anybody, but a lot of people just assumed it was Bonds because, let's face it, the end of Bonds of Steel is pretty terrible. But the rest of the episode, I don't mind.
You heard it here first, folks.
I don't mind the rest of Bonds of Steel. I find it kind of fun. This episode, though, Steele Spawning, and I think only one person in the Steele Watchers guessed it, and I can't remember who it was, but somebody did guess it. So, okay, I just wanted to put this out there first because it's Louis Anderson's character.
Whoever it was that guessed this, go back and find your post, send us a screenshot of it, and send us your mailing address, and we'll come up with something. Yeah, something. We'll come up with something.
But okay, Louis Anderson. Okay, you know how when we watch Pocket Full of Steel, you cannot stand the kid. That's this episode for me with Louis Anderson, and I made a point to because I will freely admit I have not seen him in anything else. Like I have seen him in the odd thing, but I haven't seen
video clip.
And I Googled him. Yeah, and I Googled him because I had seen all these glowing praises of his work and things that he had won Emmy awards and stuff like that. And to me, in this episode anyway, I thought, this guy can't act. What the hell are we doing here? So I made a point because I'm like, maybe there's something with this episode specifically, or it was the direction, or I don't know. So I watched some of his stand-up comedy. And I found it funny. I will freely admit I laughed at his stand-up comedy. I found him funny there. So, and I haven't seen a lot of the other shows. He was nominated for an Emmy, or he won an Emmy for a series that he did later in his life. He's passed away now. So I'm going to preemptively apologize to Louis Anderson for initially thinking that just he can't act, period, because that was my presumption from this episode. I just cannot stand him in this episode. I genuinely can't.
I don't think it's because he can't act. I'm not going to say he's the greatest actor in the world. I am not going to say that. But I think, in his defense, I think he's coming off as the character is intended to be. Maybe it comes off as bad acting to you and some other folks, but I think it's because his character is supposed to be genuinely obnoxious, offensive.
Oh, for sure. Yes, that's 100%.
And his thing here, and I think part of maybe why he comes off as being a bad actor is because he's stiff and he's whiny. But I think that's the character.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you on that at all. I looked it up just because I want to make it clear here that I'm not trying to bash Louis Anderson, because according to this, okay, he
what
has
is
won
this?
The Wikipedia thingy that I found.
We know how reliable that is.
Multiple Emmy Awards. He was named one of the top 100 comedians of all time by Comedy Central. He won a Primetime Emmy Award in 2016 for his outstanding supporting actor in a comedy series for his critically acclaimed role as Christine Baskets, the mother of the main character played by Zach Galifianakis, a role inspired by his own mother. He was nominated for the award 3 consecutive times. Now, I haven't seen that show, but apparently his work in that was quite good. Life with Louie was his own show that he created, produced, and provided the main voices. This is an animated series. I do remember this. Okay. I didn't watch it, but I remembered it being on TV. It ran from Fox from 1995 to 98, and it was based on his childhood, and it earned him 2 Daytime Emmy Awards for Outstanding Performer. He hosted Family Feud. He did a number of acting roles. He was in Coming to America. He was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He did some guest spots in like other shows like Young Sheldon, Search Party. So he's got a prolific career. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm bashing Louis Anderson, because like I said, I went and found his stand-up and he was good. Like, I enjoyed the stand-up. I laughed. And part of it is going to be, we'll get into it when we get there, but I just wanted to put that out there because this was the episode that I said I would skip, Steele Spawning. And part of it is some issues with the writing, part of it's some issues with the directing, but I no longer think that he just can't act, blanket, like he can act, because obviously he can. But this episode is going to try. It's going to try me. So I'm going to try to get through it here without being too, because like I don't want to be that person that just destroys an episode, especially if there's people that
even though you're going to be.
I'm going to try not to be, but like there's probably people out there that like this episode. I'm sure 1 or 2 of them exist. So
you're talking to one of them.
Okay, so you'll be the good cop, and I'm going to be the bad cop this time.
Yes.
That's fair. Okay. So yeah, in case you haven't guessed, we're going to be talking about Steele Spawning, season 4, episode 12, which first aired on January 28th, 1986, and it was written by John Wirth and directed by Will Mackenzie. Now, I just want to quickly find out how old he would have been here, because I think that matters in terms of what you said about him being whiny. So if this was 1986, and I believe he was born, he would have been 33. So maybe that plays into it a little bit, because I think I could possibly buy a whiny character that was maybe a little bit younger. That would maybe annoy me a little bit less than a grown-ass man just acting like a 12-year-old and saying daddy all the time. Like that just...
But that's his character. That's his character.
I get like full body revulsion anytime I hear him say daddy. I'm just like, no, can't do it. So yeah, this was written by...
Can we...
Sorry.
We got so sidetracked with all of our technical issues and we just ran straight into the episode.
Did we miss something?
Well, there are some things that I want to go back to. We had some reviews that came in about a year ago, I guess, really, that I don't recall seeing. And so I don't, well,
I do remember them.
They seem kind of familiar. I think we got an email on one of them, but we haven't actually referenced the reviews. So can we do those here?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
There's 2 of them. First one came from Tomorrow Salad _D. Interesting name. It says, thanks for the podcast. I was a young teenager when this show originally aired, fell in love with Pierce, and I wanted to grow up to be Laura. I think a lot of women probably did. Thanks for the podcast. While I'm doing a rewatch, the thing I think is missing from the podcast are anecdotes from the actors and or directors on each episode. Just a suggestion. And yeah, that would be great if we had access to that level of information. Unfortunately, we don't. We are not in the industry. We don't have connections.
No.
And so, I mean, we've had a few guests join us on the show, and one of them was an actress from the show. But as far as anecdotes from actors and directors, that's something that we're just not in a position to do. It would be great, but just not in a position. Anyway, then we got another review from Love Steele, and this one says, I recently found the SteeleWatching podcast while I spent my time at my mother's bedside while she was dying. The juxtaposition of running across this gym while waiting and being present for my mother was a gift. She loved Remington Steele as much as I do, and I know she listened along with me in her final days. The show is the show I fell in love with as a child. Listening to others talk about the series is a novelty that came at the right time for me. Thank you for helping me get through some of the hardest days of my life. And I think we did mention this one because we got an email on this one. But I just wanted to acknowledge the public review that they posted. So, yeah, that was very nice. And then...
Yeah, I do remember that one. And it is always nice to hear something like that because it just kind of like makes it... It's more than just entertainment then at this point. Like,
yeah.
You know,
it's one of those good news, bad news, happy, sad things. You know, you're sad at that situation. But
for sure. Yeah.
But, you know, at least there was something that brought some momentary relief in this person's life. So, yeah. Now, and there is one other thing I wanted to mention that I found. I don't remember why I even started looking for this. And I wish I'd have found this at the time. Coffee, tea, or Steele?
Oh, yeah.
And I know I ran across this. Oh, I know why I found this. Because it popped up on my feed in Facebook.
Right, yeah.
And when I first saw it, it was like, no, come on. No. Because the source of it was a place I'd never heard of. And it came off as being like The Onion or something like that, you know, a parody site. But I did a little, okay, fine. I'll look at the article and then, okay, I'll do a Google search, see if it comes up in other sources. And it did. And this is from a place called The Tab, which is according to them, media brand covering youth culture, entertainment with a global audience for millions. Our London office is run by Gen Zs who specialize in news, hot takes, celebrity, drama, lifestyles, and can spot a TikTok trend weeks before everyone else. Blah, 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 blah. So it seems to be a legit news site. The Tab has exploded into one of the most influential brands for young people in the UK and the US, covering everything from global politics to Netflix. In 2025, the Tab launched the juiciest, funniest, pettiest news site for the reality TV possessed. And they have an article from December 22nd, 2025.
Okay. Oh, that's fairly recent.
Passengers claim family put dead grandmother on EasyJet flight and pretended she was asleep.
What?
Passengers have claimed a British family boarded their dead grandmother onto a flight and pretended she was asleep. Multiple people on the flight have spoken out and said they were concerned about the woman's health, and it's since been confirmed that she has passed away. On Thursday, prior to this article being written, this all began on a flight from Malaga to London Gatwick. Passengers on the flight claimed that an 89-year-old woman was already dead when she boarded due to how she looked as she came aboard on a wheelchair. Petra, a well-being expert and personal trainer, has a TikTok channel where she posted about the incident. In a viral video, she said, EasyJet, what were your ground staff thinking of today? They asked the family 5 times if this woman was okay. She was clearly not okay. To the naked eye, she looked like she was already dead, slumped unconscious in a wheelchair. So why would she be allowed on a flight and then disrupt everybody's plans? The Mail Online has reported that the woman was with 5 family members who told staff that she was unwell and had fallen asleep.
The eternal sleep.
Yes, Petra has also spoken to The Sun and explained that the woman was wheeled down the aisle of a plane, looked fragile as her carers surrounded her, was placed in an assistance seat with 2 carers around her, and people turned in their seat and went, oh my God, she looks dead.
Oh, wow. That's horrible. That is I don't mean to laugh, but I'm not laughing. I'm laughing out of sheer disbelief because that's
and it continues.
Horrific.
She was a fragile old lady who was curled up and doubled over in a chair in a not very comfortable position. Anyone with eyes could see that she was not fit to fly. And it wasn't just me that thought that. It was everybody else she went past. So, yeah.
Wow. I mean, I've flown with EasyJet, and I can say that their standards for anything on those planes are not wonderful. So this doesn't really surprise me, frankly, because I flew EasyJet from Glasgow to Gatwick, I think it was. But yeah, oof, ow,
yeah,
wow. Okay.
So maybe coffee Steele and or coffee tea and
Steele.
Wasn't so far-fetched after all.
I get it. Wow, that's full-on Weekend at Bernie's. Okay, that is full-on Weekend at Bernie's right there. That's horrific. That is really awful, and I feel really bad for anybody that either A, had to see that, or B, the family. Why would you? Oh, anyway. Okay, that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
The only other thing I wanted to say, I don't know that we've had Will Mackenzie as a director. I don't recall the name, so maybe my issues with this episode will stem with him, because we have had John Wirth as a writer, and we've seen him many times before. So the other thing I wanted to note was just that this episode features heavily, with Russia, and talks a lot about Russian. Not Russian politics per se, but it does sort of touch on it. At the time, Gorbachev was in power from 1985 until the country's dissolution in 1991, the Soviet Union, as I call it in this episode. And he served as General Secretary of the Communist Party from 85, additionally as head of state from 88. And ideologically, he initially adhered to Marxism and Leninism, but moved more towards social democracy by the 1990s, early 1990s. So this was kind of like a thawing of the Cold War, when relationships between the U.S. and Russia and other places in Russia sort of began to start to thaw. Not fully, obviously, but they were on their way, I think. And Gorbachev was a major factor in that. So, I mean, I don't want to get into any other politics with Russia beyond that, but it just was worth noting in terms of I think how they handle the episode, particularly Ivan's character, because usually they're the Russians in these earlier films are the villains and stuff like that. So I just thought that was an interesting thing to note. Also, we went skating earlier today, and I told you this before we started recording. I may or may not have a concussion, so anything I say, you can't hold it against me.
Sure, we can.
Have a head injury, because I actually slipped and I fell and I hit my head. Helmets, people. I was wearing one, and that possibly saved my noggin. So wear your helmet when you skate or bike ride or anything like that. But we went skating with my daughter's...
And if you don't have a helmet, use bubble wrap.
We went skating with my daughter's friend, Mika, who's a boy. She's in grade 4 and he's in grade 5, and they've been friends since last year when they did a play together. And he's from Russia. Their family has been in Canada for 2 years now. And we were talking a little bit about it, and I mentioned... because we were talking about hockey, and he was telling me about how even though Russian hockey players are some of the best hockey players in the world, they don't have the same hockey infrastructure that Canada has, which I found really interesting and probably speaks to them even more, because if they don't even have the same infrastructure, but they're still pumping out some of the best players, good on you. So yeah, so I was getting a little bit of more of an understanding of what Russia is like now, which was kind of interesting because, like I said,
and then she fell on her head.
Then I fell and I hit my head. I really did, because I was saying it's a path, it's a winding path, and I couldn't see the path because there was snow on the ice, and I went right off the path and slipped, and I hit my head, and now I'm injured. So anyway.
And this is her big, long-winded excuse for why she is going to sound like a nutcase today.
No, it's not, actually. It's... I went with the TV Guide synopsis, and this TV Guide synopsis is also going to be part of the reason why I have issues with this episode. That's why I went with it, because I want to just open with this. A spoiled roly-poly importer must locate a missing shipment of Russian caviar before the president of the company, his father, returns from abroad. I really hate when fat jokes are made at the expense of a person in film and TV. I don't think they're funny. I don't think it's, I think it's mean-spirited. It's comedy punching down. I get it if, like, I've seen some of his stand-up comedy and he freely makes fun of himself. But a lot of the time, I think that's a defense mechanism, especially for if you've got a stand-up comedian who is overweight. They'll often say, well, I'll be the first one to say it so that when everybody else does, it looks like I don't mind. And I don't know what his frame of mind is or his opinion about his weight was, but it just feels, I don't know, it feels cheap. It doesn't feel like there's other things you could, like, he's supposed to be spoiled and whiny and like, lean into that. Like, I don't think we need to be mocking people's bodies. And I've had issues with this the whole way through because Laura keeps saying she needs to lose 5 pounds, and come on.
No, she needs to put on about 5 pounds. 10
and
pounds.
I'm not saying that Louis Anderson wasn't overweight or that he shouldn't, have been trying to. I don't know what his health situation is. It's not my business. I don't, feel the need to comment on people's bodies, but clearly the media does, and I just don't love it. So that's part of it's even in the synopsis, right?
Well, I don't. Is it in the synopsis?
Yeah, a spoiled roly-poly importer.
Okay, that's the TV guide. The original,
the TV guide synopsis is what I meant. It's even in that.
Because the original Remington Steele production synopsis. And by the way, all these come from Judith Moose's book, Steele Loved After All These Years. So, just a shout out to Judith. Yeah. Because the original synopsis that they used internally, at least, spoiled, bungling Bingham Parrott, the son of a wealthy caviar importer, tries to do business without daddy, and a menacing Russian begins tailing him. Bing then turns to Laura and Remington to save his hide and bail him out of a brewing international blow-up. So,
yeah. Spoiled and bungling is better than roly-poly, but I use that TV guide synopsis specifically for the purpose of highlighting, like, it's even in the TV guide that, he's fat, so it's funny. Ugh, I don't love it.
Okay, why do I want to break into Weird Al? I'm fat. I'm really, really fat.
We've got the opening scene. We begin in the supermarket and we see his character Bing in a large trench coat and sunglasses. And I will admit, that's funny.
Nothing says I'm up to no good more than wearing a trench coat and dark glasses at night.
Yeah, especially when it's if you're not Corey Hart, you're not allowed to do it without looking suspicious. That's just the way it works. I don't make the rules. That's how it is. So, he's in these trench coat and sunglasses. He's looking for something. Eventually he finds it, which is a display of caviar. He goes over to it, grabs all of it off the display and puts it in his cart. It's basically the cart is literally full of caviar. And I'm guessing this is a more upscale supermarket. It's not the kind of supermarket where there's like a limit on how much you can buy because he buys it all. He's at the cash register and the cashier trying to do the thing that cashiers are supposed to do, make casual conversation, asks if he's having a party. And this is where the first line, none of your business. If that's what the director wanted, I hate him.
Well, we don't have a copy of the script that I was able to find.
No, I couldn't find one either.
And so we don't know what the script direction was, but yes.
But just none of your biz, I don't know. He could have said it any other way, but he chose to sound like my 9-year-old. And then the bag boy asks paper or plastic, and who cares? Ugh. We're 30 seconds in and I want to shoot him. Anyway. So the cashier tells him his total is $2,347.82.
How
Wow.
How did he pay this? Because he didn't use very many bills. And given that the amount is $2,347 and he gets back 18 cents.
Yeah.
That means he gave the cashier $2,348. And given that he only had a couple of bills in that collection that he handed her.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm thinking he had to have at least $1,000 bill in there, which is a problem.
Yeah, I would think most places wouldn't take that.
Well, I'm not sure it would even get that far. I'm not sure it would even get that far. Legal $1,000 bills do exist or did exist as legal tender, but they were obsoleted and last printed in 1945, discontinued for general circulation by 1969 due to lack of use and concerns over money laundering, and had been used primarily for large bank-to-bank transactions. So Where did he get these? I mean, they might have been worth more than the face value.
Yeah, that's
if
fair.
they're collector's items, you know.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
Did he go in to get into Daddy's office and take some of his money that he has hidden away? Because Daddy's been hiding money.
Stop saying Daddy, please. She offers him, like you said, 18 cents change, and then treat yourself. Really, dude? Really?
I mean, even back in 1985, 18 cents wouldn't buy much.
Yeah, no, that's
I'm not sure it would buy a piece of penny bubble gum.
I do like the irritated look that she has on her face, like that. Just right, okay, and then how she puts it over on the register and just kind of like glares at him. I felt that in my soul as somebody who has done that job, So we then see him walking out of the store with his cart full of caviar. He takes it up to this is a Rolls Royce, right?
No, I don't know what that is. I tried to look it up. To me, there's elements of I'm thinking it's a custom made cart. There's elements of it that look a little bit like an old Cord. The tailpipes coming out of the side of the hood,
right,
sheet metal and such, and the spare tire covered with the casing there. But the rest of it doesn't look right. So I don't know. I tried to figure out what it is. I can't figure it out. It looks like there is a badge of some sort on the front grille. But it's at such an angle and in the corner of the shot that I can't really tell.
If anybody knows, send us a message, send us an email, let us know what kind of car this is. Because I'm
thinking, not only is it a custom build, but he's got a refrigerator in the trunk.
Yeah, that was because I have that. He opens it. There seems to be some kind of active freezer in the trunk.
Dry ice or something.
It looks like dry ice. We see it already has a ton of caviar in it.
Yeah.
He begins to start putting that caviar in it when a man approaches him. He looks scared, throws the cart at the man, and jumps into the car. The man jumps onto the runner of the car, but he shakes him off and he gets away. So then we switch over to Steele's apartment. They're sitting on his couch. This is, again, I think she might be wearing the same red blouse that she was wearing in Steele on the Air, and her hair is way too overdone. And it's a shame because...
And so is her makeup, almost.
It's funny because I like that blouse. I do. Mm-hmm. But the problem is when they do the makeup as severely as they're doing it, and they do her hair up like that, it all overpowers it, and it just all looks like way too much. If they had just had her in the blouse with her hair normal and her makeup normal... that blouse would look fantastic on her, but everything else, it just looks like way too much.
Stephanie should only be treated as the girl next door. So when you're going to, quote, glam her up, it needs to be girl next door glam.
Subtle.
It does not. It's not model runway glamour magazine.
She looks like she belongs on an episode of Dynasty here, and it's just not.
It does not fit her. It does not fit her.
Doesn't suit her. So she goes to take a bite of something, and then Steele stops her, telling her it will cloud the palate. He is holding a bottle of champagne that is obviously very important, or he says is very important. Laura asks what about it is so important, and he tells her it was given to him by a very special friend in Cyprus in 1973. Was that when he was Stavros? Is Cyprus, is that Greek? In Greece? Or is my geography terrible?
It would have to be, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm wondering. I want to know more about what happened there.
Was this one of the pieces of cargo that floated away from the ship?
I'm wondering that. Yeah, because he says it was given to him by a friend, so maybe it was from Marcos Androkos, right? Like the smuggler. He says in 1973, and then he wonders if it was maybe 1974. And tells her he had to leave suddenly. But then he says he had to leave suddenly because the Cyprians decided to stage a coup. So I don't even know if there was a coup in Cyprus in 1974. I guess I should have Googled that. Was there a coup in Cyprus? I'm right now. In 1974. There was. A military coup d'etat sponsored by the Greek military junta was executed.
Junta, isn't it?
Junta. Sorry, I don't know. I don't know. It was executed by the Cypriot National Guard on July 15th, 1974. The coup plotters removed the sitting president of Cyprus, Archbishop Makarios III. And if I am mispronouncing anything, I deeply apologize to anybody who's from Greece or is Greek, from office and installed Enosis nationalist Nikos Samson. So there was a coup. So he's saying he was there, and that's why he had to leave. Okay. Laura interrupts him and tells him to pop the cork. Obviously not in the mood. I love this. I love that, like, in the past, she would have been eager for any tidbit of information that he could give her about his past. Anything. Now
just shut up and pour the booze.
Now she's just like, right, okay, okay. I don't care.
Shut up and pour the booze.
This is how far they've come, right? He's offering her some information on some exciting adventure that he was on back then in 73 or 74, and, about his mysterious past. And she's like, yeah, whatever, just pop the cork. I don't care. It's nice. It's nice to see this part of Laura.
She wants those tiny bubbles in the wine.
He's about to do so when there's a loud knocking at the door. And Laura sarcastically wonders if it's the return of the Cypriots, but instead it's someone calling for help. We hear the voice yelling that they're trying to kill him, and Laura and Steele get up, and honestly, they should have just left him out there, but whatever. They get up and they go to open the door, and Bing barges in and shoves Steele out of the way, grabbing Laura and shaking her, telling her that she is his only hope, and he would get down on his knees if it wasn't so much trouble getting back up.
Why did he... I think
Laura
it's interesting that, why did he go straight to Laura and just ignore him? I mean, his name is on the agency. His face is on the agency. And she's just unnamed woman.
It's a weird directorial choice for sure, because he literally shoves Steele out of the way. So it's not like he didn't see him. Mm-hmm. So why? I don't know.
On the other hand, given my choice,
I mean, true, but like, I don't know. It's one of the many mysteries concerning Bingham Perrette, but here we are. Laura demands to know who he is, and he tells her Bingham Perrette, or Bing to his friends. Before they have a chance to respond, he turns and then he starts shaking Steele, demanding to know if they locked the door. Steele pushes him off and tells him to calm down and asks who is trying to kill him. He shoves his way through the two of them, goes over to Steele's balcony, beckoning them to follow. They do, and he points down at the man from earlier and says, him. Steele asks why, and he simply says, caviar. Laura is confused. Steele pulls him over and asks, how did you find us, Mr. Perrette? He insists they call him Bing and tells them he called their office and the nice lady gave them their address. And he was in the neighborhood. Mildred, are you deliberately trying to sabotage them?
How many times? I mean, they've already had this conversation with her, I think. Or they should have multiple times, because there's been so many times that she's just been so free with their location. And worse. It's one thing to say, well, he's over at this restaurant having dinner, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's one thing. But to give them their address for their personal residence? No. You don't do that. I realize that as a former IRS agent, she doesn't have any kind of respect for privacy, but still, I mean, come on.
Ouch. I'm assuming that he said it was life or death, and that's why she did it. But either way, she's constantly interrupting their dates, too. Right? Like she trying to keep, like, come on, Laura, or Mildred, sorry. That's not cool. Come on. So endangering their lives, also ruining their date.
Yes.
Double whammy. Steele tells Laura they have to talk to Mildred, and Bing says that they have to help him, insisting that his life is at stake and money is no object. He holds up fists full of money, to which Steele smiles broadly and tells him he'll be right back.
Yes, show me the money.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he has his methods. Money works. Steele leaves. Laura tells him to lock the door as he runs outside, and she follows. Outside the apartment, Steele tells her he'll check the alley, and they split up. So we see Steele walk up to a large hedge and look around it, only to be hit on the head by the man from earlier, who we later find out is, we would pronounce it in North America as Ivan, but he corrects her and tells her Ivan, so that's how I'm going to pronounce it. He falls to the ground, but Ivan is then hit from behind by another man, and he falls down beside Steele. The second man goes through the first man's, or Ivan's, pockets, and Laura runs as Laura comes around the corner. As she sees him, he runs, and Laura approaches the two just as Steele begins to sit up. Laura helps him up, asking who the man was. The man moans, Godir, and Laura asks, Russian? They hear a noise that sounds like a gunshot, and she calls out, Mr. Perrette. Steele yells, Bing, and they run back up the stairs to find Bing in Steele's living room drinking his special champagne and a hole in his window.
The guy has absolutely no sense of boundary.
No, and maybe this is why this irritates me so much, because I don't have much patience for spoiled rich people. Mm-hmm. I especially don't have much patience.
Now, isn't that redundant?
Well, okay, fair, but I especially don't have much patience for people that don't like take responsibility for their actions or care about how their actions affect others, and simply think that they can just wave off whatever with a check.
They have no respect for other people, and it's demonstrated in how they not only interact with them, but just how they treat their property, what they think of their property.
Literally this, yeah.
You know, oh, you got some champagne here. I'll just take some of that. Yeah, because I'm being Perret.
Right? It's not his, and then he just says put it on his bill. But if this really was something special that Steele had been saving, it wouldn't matter how much it cost, because that wouldn't be the loss.
That's
the
not
loss
the point.
Would not be the money. The loss would be the thing that he had been saving to share with Laura or whatever. Like, that's what I think bothers me, is just this complete lack of, giving a crap about people's stuff. And just, So he says the cork had a mind of its own to put it on his bill. Steele is speechless as they go over to the balcony, and Bing asks if they found the guy. Steele sees the Yvonne downstairs stumbling away, and he says he found him. He goes to sit down, and Laura asks why he's being followed by someone from Russia. Bing drops the bottle he's holding through the glass side table, completely shattering it. Now, I don't know if this would actually shatter the side table, because I have glass tables, and my glass tables are a lot thicker than this, but
I guess, generally,
they're just going for
the glass. Yeah, they're just going for the visual effect, because in furniture, tabletops, end tables, whatever, when you have glass, it's generally a safety glass.
Yeah.
It's laminated so that it's not going to shatter like this.
No, because that would be a real safety hazard, You set your cup of tea down and it's gone.
So, I think it's just for the visual effect.
Yeah. He winces and then tells Steele, just put it on his bill. Steele stands up, enraged, and Laura gets between them, but it doesn't matter. He grabs Bing by the lapel with Laura in between, saying Bing is a menace to life, limb, and property, and I agree, and Laura should have just let him have it. Let him just take him out. End of the episode, but hey, whatever.
Well,
sadly.
This is where I have an issue with Laura here as well, so go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, sadly, she gets in between them.
Carry on.
She pushes Steele off him and says, nevertheless, he's their client.
No, he
when
isn't.
Did they agree to this? Yeah.
He hasn't paid them a retainer. They haven't formally accepted the case. He's just simply come in and said, help me, they're trying to kill me. Oh, and I'm running your apartment, but help me, they're trying to kill me. No agreement's been made.
I think Laura unilaterally made the agreement when she saw all the money in his hand.
Would be funny, because it's usually Steele that would do that.
Yeah. Well,
and of course, when he saw the money, his eyes did light up a bit,
Yeah, but now he's fully willing to kill this man, because he's come into his apartment and just started like human wrecking ball destroying it, right?
Yeah. So stuff his body somewhere, place it would never be found if they could find a place.
Yeah, exactly. She then asks what the Russians have to do with the caviar. We switch over scenes into a warehouse where Bing shows them crates and crates full of Bulgarian ball bearings. He says that his family is in the caviar business, and this was supposed to be $1 million shipment of Russian caviar. He asked them if this looks like fish eggs to them. Have you ever tried caviar? Because I have not.
No.
And I can't say I have any desire to.
No, me either.
And not even because it's fish eggs. It's more to do with the look and what I imagine the texture to be. It looks like it's slimy, and it looks like it's I'm no thanks.
no
But apparently rich people like it, so hey,
or they say they do.
Yeah, true. It's probably one of those things where you don't want to appear unsophisticated, so you're just like, yes, caviar, delicious. I don't know why I became British there, but hey. Laura suggests that they stop payment on the check, but he tells them it's too late, as it was paid for months ago. Steele asks if anything like this has ever happened before. Bing tells them, you don't mess around with the king of caviar. Steele repeats that dubiously, and Bing tells him that his family has had an exclusive contract with the Russians for 100 years. He says, if you live in the United States and you want Russian caviar, you come to me. That is, if Daddy's busy. There is something about hearing a grown man say daddy that is deeply disturbing, and it's not going to stop being disturbing. It's just blah, blah, gross. Anyway, Laura asks if he contacted the authorities, and Bing says, of course he has. He's been trying to get through to Denisovich all day. Laura repeats the name, and he tells her Denisovich is the Commissar of Caviar. Are these actually, they're not real titles, correct? Or
well,
are they?
I think commissar is just the Russian word for commissioner. And I mean, I haven't looked it up, but I believe that's the case. And it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, caviar.
It is a formal title. I just Googled it.
Caviar is a big commodity, or it used to be at least, a big commodity out of Russia. And, you know, it's got this reputation, which they allude to here in the episode, of being the finest caviar in the world. And so, yeah, I can see that they would have a commissar of caviar. Yeah.
Okay, I literally just Googled it, and I've got Commissar of Caviar isn't a formal title, but refers to Kemp Tully's memoir, Caviar and Commissars, The Experience of a U.S. Naval Officer in Stalin's Russia, detailing his diplomatic life, while also alluding to Soviet officials like Anastas Mikoyan, a trade commissar known for dealings with Armand Hammer involving Soviet luxury goods like Fabergé and caviar. The phrase captures the blend of luxury and Soviet authority that during the era contrasting high-end delicacies with communist officials. So technically not an official thing, but like officially unofficial kind of thing.
Yeah.
Looks like. So yeah. Steele says, and Bing replies that, well, he was in a meeting. As he says this, the phone rings. When nobody moves, Laura asks if he should answer it, as it may be Russia calling. He opens and closes the briefcase with the phone in there's a phone in a briefcase again.
Yep.
Before answering it in an offensively bad Japanese accent. So here we have, some fun casual racism here. Sure. Mr. Perrette not here. So sorry. Ugh, gross. He then laughs and says, "Hi, Daddy," in his regular voice. He tells him he was just kidding with him, and the shipment did come in. He adds that he's looking at it right now. I guess he's not lying in anything he just said.
Technically, he's not. The shipment did come in. He is looking at it. It's just that what it contains wasn't what it was supposed to be.
Not what it was supposed to be. Correct. He listens and then tells Steele and Laura he's in Sri Lanka already, and he will be home before he knows it. He listens again and says, "We're not. I know you told me not to have any parties." Again, he's 30. He's 33. Is he supposed to be a lot younger? Am I missing?
No.
Okay.
He's a whining crybaby because he's an entitled, spoiled brat who was raised to be an entitled, spoiled brat. I mean, that's how he was raised, and that's what he is.
Yeah,
and that's
he
what
says
he will
goodbye,
always be.
And then collapses to the ground crying. Steele helps him up and tells him to straighten up, pull himself together, chin up, chest out, and belly. Well, close enough. Again. Yay, fat jokes.
Yeah.
Laura asks Mr. Perrette, who corrects her with Bing, what he wants them to do. He says he doesn't know, and then adds, "Go to Russia?" She says they can't go to Russia. He then tells them that they are sponsoring a charity polo match the day after tomorrow, and he has to have his caviar by then. Steele asks him with any luck he will, and if he doesn't, he's sure the charity people will understand. Bing tells him they don't understand. This polo match is the most important sales event for the company. All their buyers will be there. No caviar, no business, no business. Bye-bye, Bing. He adds that Daddy will have him for breakfast. Laura tells Steele it looks as if they have their work cut out for them, and Steele agrees. All before Daddy gets home. Laura tells Bing it would be a good idea if he stayed with Mr. Steele tonight. Does she hate him? Like, does she?
Once again, Laura volunteers Steele to be a target. Because not only does he have to deal with Bing, who is a bull in a china shop would appear delicate compared to him.
Oh yeah.
But he's also going to have to deal with the people who are after him, potentially killers.
Yeah.
So it's a 2-for-1 for Laura.
Yep. Bing insists he can't, as he has to have publicity photos taken at the polo match the following day. Laura tells him that Mr. Steele will go with him, and Steele pulls her aside, reminding her that the man nearly destroyed his apartment, and suggests they put him in a hotel, as they are insured for this sort of thing.
Well, they may be insured, but they're still going to bill you.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about in the 60s and the 70s and even into the 2000s, all the rock stars who destroyed hotel rooms, they paid for those.
Oh, for sure. I mean, but the thing is, they didn't care because they had the money, right? So they'd go in and they'd destroy the hotel, and then they'd pay for it. But it was, again, is that
But my point is
like,
that the insurance wasn't made responsible for it.
No. That's why a lot of people have to put down a deposit now, because if there's damage, then it's not returned.
Yeah.
Laura tells him that wouldn't solve the problem, and if it were a woman, she would be expected to stay with her. Which,
of course, Steele might expect the woman to stay with him.
I mean, Laura's not wrong. She took in Rocky and Tony and Terry and whatnot, but like this still, I mean, Steele looks at Bing, who smiles hopefully and says he has the sinking feeling he's going to regret this. And yeah, Steele, you are.
Oh, of course.
Back at his apartment, we see a man watching, I think it's still Yvonne, watching Steele and Bing through his window using binoculars.
It's not Yvonne.
It's not? Sorry. Okay. My bad.
It's the guy
it's the
that
other
hit
guy.
Yvonne.
It's that's right. It's yeah, my bad. Steele is giving Bing a dustpan to sweep up the glass from the table he broke. Bing kneels down to do so, unaware they're being watched, and says that the phone call from Daddy. Sorry, go ahead.
Why? Okay, a couple of problems. First of all, why isn't the floor showing any signs of dampness? Broken a champagne bottle, even after an hour or two, you'd see some evidence of moisture. And then second of all, why is Steele walking around in bare feet in a place where there may be glass shards?
I thought that too. I was like, that's not the best idea there, Steele. Maybe put on some shoes. But yeah, good questions. Good questions. No answers, but good questions.
You sound like a teacher. I don't know the answer, but it's a good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll get back to you.
And then you never do. Yeah.
No, of course not. Bing says that that phone call from Daddy, that was Bing just putting him on, a little game they play. Yeah. Steele sarcastically says he got that from the phone call. Bing tells Steele that just between the two of them, he's the king now. Daddy has gone a little senile. He says everyone wants him to put him away, but he won't do it. He says he loves that man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Does he really think anybody's buying that story? I mean,
I'm guessing no. And here's the problem that I have with it, because we're supposed to eventually sympathize with Bing, and I just don't. Because
no. Are we supposed to sympathize with Bing? I don't think so. I certainly don't. I can't imagine how anybody could possibly sympathize with this guy other than the fact that his dad treats him like a worthless piece of, annoyance.
Well, yeah.
But that's it. As far as how he deals with other people, is how Bing deals with other people. No, nobody's going to feel sorry for him. As far as the situations he gets himself into because he's a spoiled brat, no, nobody's going to feel sorry for him.
My point is that had this been righted. See, this is the head injury.
You as a teacher of Englisher.
Head injury. Had this been written.
How long are you going to use that as an excuse?
As long as I can. As long as I need to. Had this been written with any kind of nuance, any kind of, depth or anything like that, or had this been written as anything other than a bunch of fat jokes strung together with a completely obnoxious character, you could have snuck in some of these moments of vulnerability and had them work, because this is supposed to be a moment of vulnerability. We're supposed to see through Bing's boasts about how, Daddy is not really in charge anymore. He is, and he just loves him too much. We're supposed to see the insecurity and the vulnerability and everything else that you just said. We're supposed to see that, but I don't, because the rest of it is just so obnoxious and so completely odious.
We're going so hard for the laugh that we've left off the subtlety.
That they've left out that ability to feel for the character, because later on as well, when they're changing and Bing gives that whole speech to Laura, again, we're supposed to sympathize with him. That's the intention. But they don't give us any point elsewhere in the episode to give a crap about him. So when we have that moment, it's unearned. It doesn't get earned at all. And it's
unrewarded.
Yeah, exactly. So the subtlety is lacking here, and that's partly the problem with this. He tells Steele that's why he has to promise that he won't find out about this little glitch. Steele sits down watching Bing clean up the floor and tells him eventually to leave it and get some sleep. Bing does so, saying he is a little bushed. He gets up and Steele pats the couch, indicating that Bing is to sleep there. Bing lays down on the couch, but because he's so big, he promptly rolls right off. Again, this is I mean, literally, this is done just for the physical pratfall joke of he's fat and he can't fit on the couch. Ha ha. That's not funny to me. I don't know. It may be funny to other people, but for me, I'm like, I don't get where we're supposed to, like, there are a lot of places in this world that are not designed for larger people. Mm-hmm. And watching them struggle with that is, I don't know. I don't find the humor in that. So anyway, he pulls the coffee table over against the couch, attempts to roll over again, knocking things off in the process. Steele suggests he take the bed and he will take the couch. Bing agrees that's a good idea. He goes into the bedroom and says, "Oh, what a bed, Mr. Steele." Steele says thanks, and a moment later a crash is heard with Bing saying, "Put it on my bill."
Yeah, I'm sorry. That bed wouldn't have collapsed.
I don't think the bed collapsed. I think he knocked something over or he broke something.
Oh, okay.
Like a vase or something on the side of the table.
I always heard it as the bed supposedly collapsing.
Oh, well, if they are, there's another, haha, it's a fat joke. He can't even lay on a bed without breaking it. So funny. Ugh, gross. Steele winces before going to sleep. At the office, Mildred comes into Laura's office to find her sitting at her desk surrounded by papers. She asks how she's doing, and Laura says that Bing's company has used the same shipping line for years, but this was the first time the caviar has gone through Bulgaria. She wonders suddenly why they changed routes. She then checks her watch and tells Mildred to try and get through to Denisovich in the Soviet Union. Mildred asks who he is, and Laura tells him the Commissar of Caviar. She tells Mildred she wants to know who instructed the caviar to go through Bulgaria. She stands up and goes over the filing cabinet. She looks fantastic here in this fedora, and that outfit is great. Big thumbs up to that outfit. Mildred asks where she's going, and she tells her the polo field. She adds that once again, Mr. Steele has gotten the easier part of the assignment.
You know, I sometimes think that Laura seriously fails to appreciate how difficult Steele's job can be.
True.
You know, in this particular case, the difficulty is not what you would typically expect, but I mean, dealing with a spoiled brat, worse, a spoiled brat who's supposed to be a full-grown, responsible adult, that's not an easy job. And some of the other stuff that he's had to deal with that Laura has just simply dismissed as something simple and easy while she was doing the hard work. I'm sorry, he's gotten hit on the head a lot of times doing stuff that was supposed to be the easy job.
True. She may still be ticked off about the whole plane thing.
Well,
where she, had to serve him.
That could be
was
too.
Trevor Keach. But no, you're right. I do think that you're right in the sense that she does often assume that he's getting the easier side of things. And sometimes he is. In this case, dealing with Bing, I think that I'm firmly on the no, Steele is not getting the easier side of things. However, he is in Laura probably sees it as he's schmoozing with rich people at a polo field.
Yeah.
That's likely how she
and
sees
remember
it.
he and was it Andrew? No, Prince Valiant, whoever it was, gets together for polo every so often.
Yeah. Prince Charles. He says,
yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
But he's not on the horse yet because this is Bing struggling to get on the horse. Someone has to help. He shoos them away. Photographers are waiting, and he struggles to get on. Eventually, he gets on, and the horse whinnies in protest because, again, fat people are hilarious. Like, I don't know. This drives me up the wall because it's not just once. It's repeated throughout the entire episode. And I don't know how Louis Anderson felt about it, but I can only imagine how anybody else who is his size or similarly built watching this and going, oh, yeah, that's funny. It's not. As he sits up on the horse, a man comes out and tells him that there's a phone call. He asks why they waited for him to get up there to tell him that, which the guy just got out there.
When a phone call comes in, the phone call comes in.
Yeah,
it's not a matter of, he's getting on a horse. We're going to wait and tell him after he gets on the horse so he has to get back down again. Ha, 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 ha.
Exactly, yeah. Bing asks if it's Daddy. The man doesn't know, so Bing sighs and tells the photographer to take the picture. He does, and Bing tells him to get him down. They help him down, and as soon as he's on the ground, someone calls his name. He turns, and he's greeted by a man in a friendly voice calling him Marty. He calls the other man Marty. They shake hands, and Marty tells Bing he's looking robust. He introduces himself to Steele as Martin Rome, and Steele uses the Trevor Keach identity. Bing tells him that Marty owns Rome's Caviar Emporiums. He says they are one of their biggest customers. Bing tells Marty that Steele is a new sales rep, and Marty asks him if he's a polo player. Steele says he's played once or twice in his time, and Marty expresses an eagerness to go head-to-head tomorrow. Bing says, "Why do you think I hired him?" They begin to walk, and Marty tells Bing he put in a call to his father. Bing does not like that, and Marty continues by saying that this is no reflection on Bing, but his father promised he would have his caviar last week. Now here it is the middle of that week, and he has yet to see an egg. He says he needs the caviar by tomorrow afternoon, and if he doesn't get it, he will have to make other arrangements. He gestures to Steele, saying, "Tomorrow then," and Steele says he'll be there with spurs on. I don't know if they still use spurs, but okay.
Well... So I would maybe in like cattle ranching or something like that, they might.
I don't think they'd use them in polo, though.
But yeah, I was going to say, yeah, I don't think they do in polo. No.
Not really. But maybe this is just another one of those Steele doesn't understand sports, but then he does know how to play polo because we see him playing it.
Yeah.
So,
and he's played with Charles, and you don't play with Charles unless you know how to play polo.
Yeah, exactly. Once he's out of earshot, Bing says he's dead. D-E-A dead. D-E-A-D dead. I would have loved to hear him misspell it. That would have been funny to me, right? Like that would have been D-E-E dead, yes. Something like that. Something like that. Yeah, because like it would like Homer Simpson, I am so smart, S-M-R-T. That would be amusing to me. My mother used to say, and this was because of my great-grandmother. I'm not really sure how it came about, but when we were getting ready for bed, she used to tell us to get ready for BRB. Which is not how you spell bed, but my great-grandmother didn't, I don't think she had much of an education. And so for whatever reason, she said BRP, and it became a thing. But yeah, D-E-A-D dead would have been funnier if it was like D-E-D dead. Steele tells Bing not to go nutters on him now. He begins to wonder what Daddy would do and then realizes that Daddy is on the phone. He goes running off to talk to him just as Laura pulls up in the Rabbit. Laura we don't see him hop the fence, but he must have. So... Because he, like, I'm glad they didn't. Yeah, I'm glad they didn't make that a joke too. Because I was expecting him to go and hop over the fence, but not quite make it. And then, no. Laura tells him the paperwork was driving her crazy, so she thought she'd come down there and get some fresh air. She asks where Bing went, and Steele tells her that Daddy was on the phone. In the barn, we see Bing looking for the phone when he hears someone going psst from a horse stall. He finds him and asks where the phone is. The man tells him that he's Vladimir Denisovich. Bing,
from
enraged, begins to strangle him. Yeah, they fall to the ground as Bing demands to know where his caviar is. Denisovich
you
tells
communist.
Him that. I will say that's funny, but first he has to give him $1 million American dollars. Bing insists he already paid him, but Denisovich tells him that he paid the Soviet government. He gets up and he hands Bing his card and says if he wants caviar to call him, and they will have lunch. He leaves, but he doesn't get very far as he's stopped by Yvonne from last night, who tells him to freeze. He has a gun. Outside, Laura and Steele watch as the car pulls up, and two men in expensive suits get out. Laura comments on them, and Steele says, Brooks Brothers, I'd say. I like that. They head to the door of the barn.
First of all, what's the big deal about Brooks Brothers? And second of all, are their suits really so distinctive that from across like 20 yards away, you could look at it and say, oh, Brooks Brothers? I don't buy it.
I don't know if they are, but this reminds me of like Die Hard. There's like a scene when they're in the elevator, Hans Gruber and the Japanese guy that he kills, Takagi, and he sees his suit and he says, nice suit, and he says the name of the designer, which I can't remember now, probably because of the head injury. But he says, sure. He says, I have two myself. And so I think it's just one of those like rich people recognizing other rich people sort of thing. That kind of like, oh, I recognize where you're, I don't know. But it does, I just Googled it because I was curious. The company was founded in 1818. At the age of 45, Henry Sands Brooks opened H&D H. Brooks and Company on the northeast corner of Catherine Street and Cherry Street in Manhattan. He proclaimed his guiding principle was to make and deal only in merchandise of the finest body, to sell it at a fair profit, and deal with people who seek and appreciate such merchandise. So it sounds that initially it was meant to just be like reasonably priced suits. But in 1833, his four sons, Elisha, Daniel, Edward, and John, inherited the family business and in 1850 renamed the company Brooks Brothers. The golden fleece symbol was adopted as the company's trademark in 1850. A woolly sheep suspended in ribbon had long been a symbol of British woolen merchants. So then they kind of like started with introducing ready-to-wear suits to American customers, and then eventually Abraham Lincoln considered he was a loyal customer, and so he wore a suit specially crafted at his second inauguration by the Brooks Brothers. Hand-stitched into the coat's lining was the design featuring an eagle and the inscription "One Country, One Destiny." So I'm guessing it's like one of those like marks of, I don't know, wealth and status, etc.
Yeah, I just can't buy the theory that from 20 yards away you can look at somebody's suit and say,
not.
"Oh, Brooks Brothers."
Yeah. By 1971, though, 11 Brooks Brothers stores were in operation and located in Manhattan, Chicago, Boston, San Francisco, Pittsburgh, LA, Atlanta, Washington, and St. Louis. And I'm guessing it's just like, it's fancy. But yeah, you're right. They probably wouldn't be able to say from that far away.
Yeah.
They head to the door of the barn and go inside, and Laura says, "Shall we?" They walk towards the building, but before they can enter, they hear gunshots. The door opens, and Bing comes running out. 2 more gunshots sound. Steele, Laura, and Bing hide in the horse trailer as the Brooks Brothers men come running out, get in the car, and drive away. Bing tells them the guy who was following him was in there. Steele asks if there was anyone else. Bing says Denisovich and adds that he has his caviar and wants $1 million for it. He hands his card to Steele, saying that he gave him that. The card is for the Full Moon Motel, and he's in room 211. Steele is incredulous, saying, "Let me get this straight. The commissar of caviar comes to the United States, tracks you down into a barn, and tries to sell you caviar that you've already bought and paid for?" Bing calls it a filthy communist trick. That one's kind of funny. But Laura observes that sounds like Denisovich may have become a free agent. Steele wonders that it means that the man that's been following them could be KGB. Laura says if he is, the men in the suits could be CIA. Steele remarks that they certainly dress the part. She tells Bing to take the limo back to the office and wait for them there. Bing whines, "Where are you going?" Laura says to talk with Comrade Denisovich. Steele tosses the Fred of the Day, his polo club, and he gets in the car.
You know, I've got this in my notes at this point because I think we've seen this Fred of the Day several times, and I don't know who he is. I don't think I've seen him in anything else, at least not that I would have recognized.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's been in there often enough. You would think that we could come up with a name for him, but yeah, he has been
we could just call him Fred,
but he's been the Fred of the Day for a while.
I know.
At least off and on for a while.
I just like saying Fred of the Day.
Yeah.
Once Bing is inside, Denisovich opens the door and climbs in beside him. He says that he might have been too hasty and offers to make him a deal.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, okay. At the motel, Steele and Laura walk into the room, only to be surrounded by the 2 men from before. Steele puts his hands up, suggesting they might all be on the same side. One of the men asks, "What side is that?" And Steele, a little too confidently, says he's sure they're familiar with his biography, and he's been known to work for the company from time to time. I do love when Steele tries to, like, imply that he has whatever connections Laura claimed he has. Because it's always funny to see him denang the rainy season. It's just, yeah I enjoy this. The man in the brown suit asks, "What company is that?" Laura observes that they certainly play it close to the vest, and the man in the black suit says, "What vest is that?" They are not the smartest henchmen on the planet. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're smart enough to not answer any questions.
So dumb they're smart.
Yeah.
The man in the brown suit asks why the great Remington Steele is looking for a pudgy double-crossing Russian. Steele says, caviar. The man in the brown suit punches Steele down on the bed and orders the man in the black suit to kill them. Laura watches horrified as the man in the black suit gets his gun ready. She notices a black and white movie on TV, and it's a shootout scene as well, so she reaches over and turns up the volume. The sound of gunshots distracts them, and Steele is able to hit one with a lamp, and she's able to shove the other over as they run out the door of the motel. So they make their escape that way.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the office, Bing is sitting at Laura's desk, and he tells Steele he's very disappointed in him. Steele is surprised, but he adds the entire organization, to include Laura. He tells them that he's been going through his bill and lists the charges. End table, $460. Champagne, $225. Apartment window, double bed frame. So I guess you're right, he did break the bed. He asks Steele if he expects him to pay for his faulty equipment.
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't with this guy. I can't. It's not funny. It's not. It's supposed to be funny. It just makes me want to reach through my computer screen, because that's what I'm watching it on, and kill him myself. I just. Yeah.
Anyway.
Just can't. Anyway. Steele points out that it wasn't faulty until he came into contact with it. Bing snidely says, I suppose you're going to charge me for recovering my caviar too. He claims that he did all the work. Laura is surprised.
Yes. That's how it works. You pay for them to do work. You don't pay for them to have a specific result. And and the fact that you or somebody else finds the object of the search before they do doesn't mean you don't pay all the others who work for you trying to find the thing.
Yes. But again, this is that rich people mentality of, I don't want to pay you, and I'm going to find any way that I can to pay you. Because if you think about it, if he just decided that, like, if this had been the end of it, if he walked out and said,
in fairness, there are some rich people who aren't like that. But
obviously,
it's far too common.
Yeah. And if he had decided, like, if this had been the end of it in real life, if he had just walked out and said, I'm not paying you, screw you, whatever,
there'd be a lawsuit.
They could try to take him to small claims court, but with Bing's money, it wouldn't be worth it.
No.
So, and he knows that. It's one of those things where I can walk away and not pay you because I have so much money that you're not even going to try to challenge it. And that's the attitude.
Well, and the thing is, that's not just individuals. Companies do that all the time.
They do it all the time. Yeah,
they hit you with all these charges, and it's not worth your time and trouble to fight them because even if you win the case, if you look at how much time you lose at work going to small claims court, filing all the paperwork, doing all the stuff, it's just not worth it, and they know that.
Yeah. So this is just. So yeah, he claims that he did all the work, and Laura is surprised that he recovered the caviar, but Bing says that he made a deal with Denisovich, adding, why else would I be discharging you? He gestures to the bill and says, and for this, you'll be hearing from my attorney, before throwing it at them. Now, you're right about that lamp. Remember we talked about that lamp in Steele Inc.? It is the same lamp. They did have the same Korea lamp, because she even says it later on.
Right.
That it was a Korea. I don't remember how she pronounces it, but
those are the only two episodes that I recall seeing that in.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to go back and look for another. If anybody has any screenshots from previous episodes with that lamp, please tell us, because this is an intentional callback to this lamp, because it hits the lamp, knocks it over, smashes it on the ground. Bing glances at it and then says, "Not very sturdy," before leaving the office. And this is, I think, the point where I hate him the most, because Laura just looks devastated. She looks so upset. I mean, I feel bad for Steele losing this champagne bottle, because it obviously meant a lot to him as well, but you can just see by the way she sort of sinks to the ground and starts picking up the pieces, the look on her face, like this meant something to her.
Yeah.
And
we don't know the backstory on it. We don't know why, but it is definitely, it has a very significant impact on her.
Like, maybe it was the first piece of furniture she bought for the office. Who knows? But either way,
or she got it from her grandmother or something. We don't know the story, but it's,
it just bothers me so much, because he's so disdainful about it. He's just
callous.
Yeah, and then she just looks so upset. And in the limo, she says that was a Korea lamp, and. Then Steele kind of callously says that the lampshade's replaceable, but the champagne wasn't. And again, this is Steele.
Except it's not. Those, I think those are almost one of a kind type things. They're handmade.
Yeah, they are handmade. So individually, they wouldn't.
And you might be able to find something that's similar to it, but you're not going to. They don't. I doubt this company that makes those, or the guy that makes these, says, "Oh, you need a shade? Yeah, I've got a stock of shades back here in the back. I'll just ship you one." No, it doesn't work that way. I'm pretty certain.
Even if he did, even if you could replace it with the exact same lamp, if it is something that, like you said, her grandmother gave her, or Or maybe it came from her old house and she had it before the house blew up. She had, you know what I mean? It had been in storage, or it was in the office.
It was maybe the first really special piece of something that she bought for herself.
Yeah.
You know, when she moved into that house or something, you know, that was the thing that I've been wanting something like this, and this is that special thing. Yeah, it's just
exactly like Steele is kind of trying to, I don't know, one up her somehow. Like the lampshade's replaceable, but my champagne wasn't. If something has sentimental value, it doesn't matter.
It's not replaceable.
How much it's worth? It's not replaceable. You can't just buy another one and put it there and say, boom, there it is. Years ago when I moved out,
that would be a great song. Boom, there it is.
And we had whoop, there it is. So. Years ago, when I moved out of my parents' house when I was going to school, I moved into my apartment when I came back from Scotland, and I bought a Christmas tree, and I asked my parents for my baby bulb, like my baby's first Christmas bulb, and they couldn't find it. Nobody could find it. They lost it, or they said they lost it, and I was devastated because those were like bought in like from the Hallmark. You know, there was one of those Hallmark ones that, you know, and I had it all my life. And so I went on the Hallmark website, and I did manage to find the exact same bulb from 1982. You can buy them, and they shipped it to me. Though. I did manage to, thankfully, it was my nephew that just misplaced it. So now I have two. But yeah, it wasn't the same thing. I got the replacement bulb, but I'm like, this is not my baby bulb. Like, this is a replacement that I've got to sort of like, just to make me feel better. It's there, but it just bothers me that he said that. When she looks so upset.
A lot of us have something like that. And that's all I'll say about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
No details, please.
Laura says that the man is a spoiled, overgrown brat who should be spanked. Thank you very much, Laura, for that image. I don't need that. And that has nothing to do with his size. It has everything to do with just how horrific he is as a human. Ugh. Steele says it's easier said than done.
That is a bad joke.
Yeah. The phone rings and Steele picks it up to the sound of gunfire. Bing yells, "They're trying to kill me!" Steele asks where he is, and he says the warehouse, and to hurry. Let him die. He looks over at Laura, and then he waits a beat. I do like the fact
Neither
that
one
he
of them are in a
pauses.
hurry.
They're like, he says they're trying to kill him, and Laura calmly says that's because it's easier than spanking him. Which fair. And then they wait another moment. They give it some time.
Yeah, it's one of those. Do we? Yeah, we've got to, but do we have to be in a hurry?
Yeah. Well, yeah, he doesn't tell Fred. I noted this because usually when they're in a hurry, he says like, hit it, Fred, and don't spare I'll pay the parking tickets or don't spare the rubber. He didn't say anything like that. He just said Perret's warehouse. Like he didn't tell Fred
no
to
sense
go
of urgency.
Faster. Like if we get there and he's dead, he's dead. Whatever, we tried.
That's right. Oh, we tried.
And I'm not going to criticize them on that. I'm fully 100% behind that policy.
That's right.
At the warehouse, they enter to find Bing sitting dejectedly on one of the crates. He's holding what looks to be a gun. Steele grabs it and remarks that it's a starter pistol. Bing mutters that he knew they wouldn't come unless it was life or death, so he faked that to get them there. And the fact that he knows that they wouldn't come unless it was life or death tells us that he knows the way he behaves toward people is crappy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's not unaware that his behavior is spoiled and obnoxious and awful. But
he also knows that because he's being Perret and his daddy, not him, his daddy has a lot of money, people don't want to offend him, and so they'll just put up with him.
Yeah.
Until the point that they can just kind of walk away and not offend him by doing it.
I mean, if I were Laura and Steele, this is where I would leave. I'd be like, oh, cool, you weren't really in danger? Have a nice life.
Yeah.
Laura, quickly losing patience, asks, what is it now? Bing opens a crate to reveal Denisovich dead inside. Laura asks if he killed him with a starter pistol, but Bing says I'm assuming a starter pistol is just a regular gun? It's just smaller?
It's a gun that's designed specifically to shoot blanks or some other loud cartridge, cap cartridge or something like that. But yeah, there's no ability to fire a round out of it. So unless you kill somebody. unless you took something that was functionally close to being a regular gun, but was a starter pistol and designed as a starter pistol, and you modified it, which is more trouble than it's worth, unless you have no other access to guns. Yeah, you wouldn't know.
Okay. All right. So Bing says he was dead when he got there. They ask about the caviar, and Bing tells him it's gone. He says, doesn't look good, does it? Steele shakes his head, and Laura tells him that under the circumstances, he's going to have a hard time proving he didn't kill this man. Bing decides that he will go to Sri Lanka, but Steele points out that that will only make him look more guilty. He says he was set up, but good, adding that anybody could have seen him arguing with Denisovich at the polo field that morning, and now he turns up dead in his warehouse. Bing asks what they're going to do, and Laura responds with, "We? You fired us, remember?"
Oh, come on. I was just kidding. You didn't believe that, did you?
Like, okay, I have this in my notes, and I'll have to, like, edit it for the sake of language.
Okay.
Laura looks over to Steele and says, "Did we?" And I would write, "I would walk away, F him." Those are my notes. I was like, you know what? No. You fired me. Bye. Have a nice life.
We have a policy. Once we're fired, we don't get rehired.
Yeah, exactly. Ugh. But they apparently do, because we see Steele and Bing lugging the body out of the warehouse. They stumble over to the car. Laura yells for Fred to pop the trunk. How many times has this poor man seen them hide a body?
Yeah, right. Like, another day at work. What did you do at work? What did you do at work today, wife or husband? They put a body in the trunk, and I drove him around, and we dumped it out, and
I would love to see the non-disclosure agreement that Fred had to sign when he got hired.
I've always contended, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know, but I've always contended that when criminal activities involved, a non-disclosure agreement is non-enforceable. But yeah, you never know.
It's not. From what I understand, it isn't. Because I was reading a bunch of stuff about, this is a while back, about the Harvey Weinstein case, and how a lot of the people that were assaulted by him were forced to sign these non-disclosure agreements that turned out to be not valid because he had committed a crime. But a lot of people assume they're valid because they're signing something, right?
Well,
so that must be...
And they get threatened by lawyers who say, you sign a non-disclosure agreement. And
exactly.
Yeah.
And the same was true with that cult, Nixium. They got all their members to sign NDAs, so they thought they couldn't go public with the stuff that they endured while they were in the cult. So yeah, but I would love to see the contract that Fred signed that says anything you see us putting in the trunk, you didn't see that. It didn't happen.
And every single Fred that works for him has to sign that.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there a Fred union somewhere?
Oh my God, that would be the best. A Fred union. A union of Freds. And they're all sitting in the bar, the union bar, where they're like having a drink and like, what'd you have to do the other day? Oh, you don't want to know, buddy. You don't want to know. Oh, that would be great. Someone needs to write that story. A day in the life of Fred. Bing wonders if this is a good idea, and Laura says that until they find out who killed him, it's better if Denisovich's body stays in Allied hands. Bing asks what about his car, saying it's out front. Laura gets into the limo and tells Steele and Bing she will meet them back at the office. Steele and Bing go back into the warehouse, and they are met by a man who is Ivan, who is outside of Steele's window holding a gun. He identifies himself as Moscow police and tells them they are under arrest. Steele asks what for, and he says for the murder of Denisovich. Bing begins crying, "Oh God, he knows!" It's probably one of the few times I laughed that I thought, Louis Anderson was genuinely funny here, because Steele's like, "Shut up! What are you doing?" And if they had played him more like this, if the writing and the direction had been more like, play him as kind of incompetent and a little bit careless when it came to his money, but not so selfish and callous and crappy to people, I might have cared more. But at this point, I'm just like, whoever can shoot him, I'm happy. Go for it. Steele introduces himself and his profession and his client, Bingham Perrette, to which Bing corrects with Bing. The man doesn't care. Ivan doesn't care. He tells them to turn around and put their hands on the crate. They do, and he handcuffs them together, telling them to save their breath for the boys in blue. Once the handcuffs are on, Steele and Bing shove him into a box of crates, and they make a run for it. The police burst through the door, and Ivan says to stop them. Steele and Bing run through the warehouse, pulling down the boxes and other obstacles as they go. They eventually make it out the back door. Scene change. Inside a phone booth, Bing and Steele are squished. Yep, another fat joke. Haha, he can't fit in the phone booth. Ugh. He's annoyed that Bing doesn't have any change.
In all fairness, two people in a phone booth is really pushing it anyway.
It never works really. Those phone booths were tiny.
Yeah.
But again, it's a deliberate. We've talked about how the physical comedy in this show is so good, and it's fantastic. But this is physical comedy at the expense of a human being that is repeatedly done throughout the episode. It's not just one joke. It's he can't fit on the couch. He hurts the horse when he sits on it. He can't fit in the. We get it. He's fat, right? Like it's not. It's like that kid that tells the jokes 18 times, and you're like, okay, it was funny the first time, but I'm not laughing anymore. And I don't think it was funny the first time. So the more they hammer in or they double down on it, it's like, I get it. He's big. Let's keep moving on.
Let's move on.
Right?
Yes.
He's annoyed that Bing doesn't have any change. Bing pulls out a wad of cash out of his pocket and says he just has bills. He asks if Steele has any, and Steele says he never carries change. Too noisy. I find it funny that Steele never has cash on him because in the 80s it would not be as easy to walk around without cash on you. It's easy now. I don't think I ever have cash on me because I almost always use my debit card. But I get that credit cards were a thing, but there were a lot of places wouldn't take them. Or if you didn't have the right credit card.
Yeah. I mean, in the 80s, I think most places took credit cards. There are still a few places around that will not take credit cards. We have one up here. It's called the Arctic Roadrunner. It's a hamburger place. They only deal in cash.
Yeah.
But even back in the 80s, most businesses would take credit cards. Now, they didn't all take all the brands, but, a rich guy would have your Visa, your MasterCard, your American Express, and if Discover was in existence at that time, he would have had a Discover too. He would have had all his bases covered.
But there's phone booths, buses, right? You need change.
Right.
You need exact change for those things.
Well,
my family,
a rich guy isn't going to typically use a phone booth,
not a bus,
or a bus.
But my family owned a coffee shop in the little village that we lived in, and that coffee shop had been there for decades. And my family, when they bought it, they were the first people to put a debit machine in there. And we're talking this was 2010. So there's some places out there that were still very much cash. But they still took
credit cards though, right?
No, it was cash. It was cash. You went in there, you ordered
because a debit machine is not necessarily doesn't necessarily mean that they didn't take credit cards.
Nobody in that village would have paid with a credit card. It was all cash. It was just a cash business. So I don't know. It just seems funny that neither of them have cash. Steele is exasperated, saying that there's $1,400 between them, but they don't have a quarter to make a phone call. He tries to get out.
They could just make it a collect call.
Yeah. True. Yeah. Help, Laura, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
You have a collect call.
Or person-to-person call.
Yeah. They try to get out, but of course they're stuck. Eventually they get out. Just as they get out of the phone booth,
yeah.
They can hear the sound of a police radio. Steele gets him to duck into a darkened doorway as the cop drives past. As soon as they come out, Bing asks if they're going to his office. Steele says no, as that's the first place they're going to check. Bing says that they have to do something to get the handcuffs off. He whines that he doesn't want to spend the rest of his life like this. Steele tells him to stop whining, and Bing exclaims that Martin Roan's office isn't too far from there. He'll get the cuffs off. He adds that they could call Miss Holt from there. Steele says for the first time he's come up with a plan that makes semi-sense. Before they can do anything, they hear the police radio again. Steele tells Bing to run with me. Reluctantly, he does, and we see them running together down an alley until they reach a fenced gate that is padlocked shut. Steele tries to open it, but he can't. He goes to double back, but the car is still there. So frustrated, he climbs the fence. The cop car stops at the end of the alley, and Bing stands there on the other side as Steele tells him to climb. Bing says he is, and with great difficulty climbs the fence. They manage to run just as the cops are getting out of the car. So that one's not too bad because I could see somebody just having trouble climbing a fence, but
especially when they're handcuffed to each other. That does make it a little more difficult to climb.
That would make it tough. At the office, Mildred has somehow hacked into Bing's father's flight records and has canceled his flight.
And
rerouted him through Kashmir. When did she become a top level hacker? What did we miss?
Well, it's computer security is a funny thing because sometimes it's really, really good, and other times it's not nearly as good as you think it is, and it's all just an illusion.
Could you even do that in the 80s, though?
Yeah, you probably could if you knew a little bit about what you were doing and the systems, because I mean, some of those systems, I mean, even now, some of the systems that get broken into have such pathetic security. And it's like the administrator password is 12345. Well, that's the default password that this system came with, and you didn't bother to change it. Well, yeah, we didn't think it was important. So you got stuff like that. You've got things like, you know, utility companies. They still do this, and I think I've mentioned this before. You come in and we want to verify your identity, so we're going to ask you 3 questions that you need to answer, and these questions are all based on publicly available information. Well, if it's publicly available, it's not very secure, is it? It's just, you know.
Okay. Google strikes again.
Oh no.
So
it's not Wikipedia, is it?
Well, it's the AI overview.
So in other words, put white glue on your pizza so that the cheese doesn't come off.
Okay. It's got the sources beside it, so I'm going to assume that those sources are semi-believable.
They have been. There have been AI results that gave you a link to a source that the source didn't say anything about what they said it said.
I'm going to give it a disclaimer here. This could be very wrong, but according to the overview, based on these sources that are at the side of my little computer screen here, the short answer, no, not in any. Because I asked, could you hack into flight records and change someone's flight in the 80s? No, not in any realistic, practical sense, especially not for an ordinary person. Longer answer, it sounds plausible in fiction, but the reality in the 1980s makes it extremely difficult and very risky, and definitely not something a lone hacker could casually pull off. Here's why and how airlines worked in the 1980s. In the 80s, airlines used early computer reservation systems like Sabre for American Airlines, Apollo for United, Pars, Amadeus for later 80s. But access was highly controlled. Only airline employees and travel agents had terminals. Terminals were on private networks, not the public internet. You needed physical access, credentials, and training. Most records were also backed by paper printouts, manual manifests, phone confirmations. So even if you altered something on a terminal, the paper trail would likely expose it. What hacking looked like back then? The kind of modem-based hacking you see in movies like War Games did not exist, but it mainly targeted phone systems, university computers, and some corporate networks. Airline reservation systems were among the most protected systems in existence at the time. Even the government relied on their reliability. So breaking into one would require advanced technical skill, inside knowledge of the system, specialized hardware, and probably inside help. It would be treated as a serious federal crime. Mildred.
It's always a federal crime. It's always a federal crime.
Mildred. So, yeah. Wow. Mildred's getting into some cyber felonies, I guess.
Yeah. Well, now here's another question then. Did passengers have access to online reservation systems back then?
I don't think so. Because the rest of this...
did travel agencies? Because if the airline computer systems were secured directly, then you can't attack them directly. You go in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
So you hack in through their system using a stolen ID or a hacked ID as a passenger, or you log in with a hacked ID as a travel agency, which is that is a system that a lot of hackers use these days. For example, the auto industry, the last 20 years has been under a lot of fire, very, very quiet fire, but fire nonetheless, because the control systems, I think it's called the CANs, that operates as the backbone of all modern electronic cars. And all cars are electronic. They may not be electric powered, but they are electronic. There's this electronic backbone that runs through them that connects all of their systems, their brakes, their acceleration, their steering, their entertainment systems. And they've got these protections on certain systems, but they don't have protections on the entertainment systems. And hackers get in through the entertainment systems, which are not protected because, I mean, it's just an entertainment system. What's the big deal if somebody hacks into it? Well, it's because it's connected. It's a client to this other system, as a travel agent might be.
Yeah.
And so through this hack of the entertainment system, they can control your car. And they have demonstrated it time and time again that they can be hundreds of miles away and they can control a car. They can take over the steering, the braking, the acceleration. They control the car.
Yeah.
but they get into it indirectly. And that's what I'm wondering here is if there's some indirect way they could do that.
The website, or the overview here continued with, could somebody change a person's flight anyway? Yes, but not by hacking. The realistic methods were convince an airline employee over the phone that you're authorized.
Social engineering.
Mr. Smith's, assistant, he's stuck in a meeting, he needs to be moved, etc. Inside help, an employee with terminal access could change the booking in seconds. So if Mildred has a friend at the airline,
gave her access,
right? Or impersonation in person, like to show up at the ticket counter, claim a mistake was made, etc. So, you'd have to manipulate people, not the machines. But either way, Mildred's committed a felony. We're just going to skate on past that.
And as a federal former IRS agent, she would have no problem with that. Because they do that all the time.
Yeah, that's true. Just then, Yvonne comes in with his gun. He bursts through the door, instructing them to do as they are told. Nobody gets hurt. Laura and Mildred stand as he proceeds to look in all the rooms quickly. Mildred asks who he is, and Laura says KGB. The man says wrong, and she's surprised. He identifies himself as Ivan, I'm going to say this wrong, probably Staranikov, I think. Moscow police. He demands to know where Steele is, and Mildred says out. Laura asks why, and Ivan says that Denisovich is dead, his body is gone, and Steele has some explaining to do. Laura asks why he thinks Mr. Steele had anything to do with it, and Yvonne replies, intuition. Laura tells him she doesn't know how they do things in Moscow, but here they rely on. She's cut off before she can say evidence by Yvonne, who insists that he plays by the book. He says he called for police backup before he went into the warehouse to bust him and Perrette. Unfortunately, Steele plays by own book.
He would have no legal authority. No. In the U.S. at all.
Yeah.
First of all, why would the Moscow police be investigating something that would be in Russia probably a federal crime, or national government crime? So it would probably be a KGB case, and even then he would still have no authority in the U.S. And I called the police for backup before I went to arrest Steele. You can't.
I'm assuming that what he means by that is that knowing what we know about him later, and I will say this, out of this episode, despite my real dislike for this episode, I really like his character. His character is the only saving grace of this episode. And he comes across as very stiff at first, and then we get to see underneath what kind of a person he is. And given how staunchly he sort of adheres to the book, I'm guessing when he arrived in the United States, he probably went to the local authorities and said, this is the person I'm chasing. I know I don't have any authority here. Will you work with me, or will you
I'm just saying though that when he says, I called the cops for backup before I went into arrest Steele, you can't, a citizen of the U.S. can commit a citizen's arrest, but as a foreign national, I don't think he has any authority even to do a citizen's arrest, because
no, probably not.
He's not a citizen.
We got to just hand wave that too. So.
Hand wave, yes.
Yeah, he says they got away with the body, and he looks like a fool. Laura says, Mr., and he supplies Staranikov. Laura suggests they can help each other, and he asks how. Laura suggests they start by telling him why he was following Bingham Perrette. He tells them he came to America following Denisovich, and Perrette was his only lead. Mildred asks if Denisovich defected, and Yvonne says no, which is what crawls under his skin. He had plenty of opportunity.
This is funny. It almost gives the impression that he would have rather...
Yeah.
The man defected.
Yeah, he would have.
Yeah. I have no problem with him if he had defected. No. He stole caviar.
I understand actually why he would prefer that he had defected, because if he defected, it means that he's a traitor, right? He's turned traitor. But if he doesn't defect, then he's stealing from Mother Russia. He's still
a traitor, though.
Yeah, but at least he's openly a traitor. I guess if he doesn't, that's the difference, is that he's openly a traitor. Everybody knows him to be a traitor. But in this case, I don't know.
And he's got enough political pull that even if they catch him, he can have it buried and probably have Yvonne sent off to Siberia and, chipping ice off of polar bears or something.
I kind of get where Yvonne's coming from. I like him. He says that Bingham Perrette was apparently in cahoots with him. Laura asks what he thinks they were up to, and Yvonne says that Denisovich was commissar of caviar, but one day disappeared without a trace. The next day they got phone calls and telex from Bing saying there was no caviar. I don't know what telex is. Is that like an early fax machine or
telegram?
Okay.
Or No, not a telegram. It's well, it's kind of a telegram. Computer terminals.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about like what we see on Mildred's desk. I'm talking about
right.
The big, almost the size of a desk terminal that has a keyboard on it and has a paper feed into it, and it would go computer to computer and it would actually type out a message.
Okay.
Similar to a telegram, except that it's not a public transmission of information. It's usually direct business to business.
Gotcha. Yeah, he asked Laura what she would think. Laura asked him how he managed to show up at Bing's warehouse tonight. Yvonne said he got a hot tip. Laura asks from whom, and he said from Mother Russia. Mildred asks if Mother has a name. Oh, friend of Mother Russia, yeah. Mildred asks if Mother has a name, and Yvonne says Martin Rome. Laura clarifies, the guy who owns the caviar emporium? Laura wonders how Rome knew Denisovich was at the warehouse, and Mildred wonders who he knew that Ivan was working for him. Yeah, sorry. Just making sure that makes sense. Laura concludes that there's more to Rome than meets the eye. Just then, Yvonne stands up and tells them to forget Rome. He wants the murder of Denisovich. Laura tells him that they want the same thing, but she says she knows where to start looking. Mildred says they could join forces and work on this together. And Yvonne is so cute here. He just east meets west. Laura dubiously adds left and right. He wonders how he knows he can trust her, and she says the same thing occurred to her. So there's this tentative agreement between the two. And then at Martin Rome Enterprises, we see a security guard making the rounds as Laura and Yvonne hide behind some boxes in yet another warehouse. Once he's gone, they begin to open the boxes. This is probably one of my favorite scenes in the entire episode. Mm-hmm. And that's saying something, because most of the scenes I'm just wanting to kill somebody.
Well, then the standard's pretty low.
Yeah, right.
Or the bar's pretty low, whatever.
Yeah, it is. It is really, really low. As Laura pulls out a jar of caviar, she asks him what it's like in Moscow. He tells her it's the same as here. She looks surprised. And he says, you have crime problem? We have crime problem. You have Mary Lou Retton. We have Olga Corbett. Now, I had to look these two up. Not Mary Lou Retton. I knew who she was. And actually, Mary Lou Retton has been in the news a little more in the last little while because of a number of things. Do you remember who she was?
Yeah, she was a U.S. figure skater. And I believe she...
No, not a figure skater. Gymnast.
Oh, gymnast.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe she was in the Olympics around the same time as Olga Corbett.
Yes. Yeah, she was... basically, she made the news back... She was on Wheaties boxes. She was that famous back then partly because of the fact that she won the gold medal. She had damaged her knee prior to the Olympics that she won the medal, and so
which probably gave Tanya Harding's boyfriend the idea, or Tanya Harding herself as well.
So she was recovering from this knee surgery that she had, and she basically this was one of the Olympics' most prestigious tournaments in the competition, which was boycotted by the Soviet bloc nations except for Romania. So she was basically engaged in close battles with, and I'm going to butcher this name, so Ekaterina Sazbo of Romania for the all-around gold medal. Trailing Zazbo, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, after the uneven bars and balance beam, with 2 events to go, she scored perfect 10s on the floor exercise and the vault. But the vault was the thing that was especially dramatic, because there had been fears that her knee injury and the subsequent surgery might impair her performance, and she actually was quite injured at that point. She should have backed out. And looking back on it, it was her coach that basically pushed her to perform. She did the final vault, and when she landed on her ankle, it pretty much destroyed it. She retired the following year, I think, because that injury was pretty much career ending. And you see pictures of that Olympics of her coach basically having to carry her off because she couldn't walk. And it was, hailed as this brave thing that she did. And everybody was so, this is what's called pushing through, blah, blah, blah. But she was only 14 at the time and was basically heavily pressured by her coach. You don't do this. You lose the gold. You let your country down, et cetera, et cetera. Had she sort of had the wherewithal to say, I don't want to end my career this early, because that's what happened, she probably should have said, no, I'm going to pull out of this event. There's always next Olympics, but she didn't. And I remember this being something that was talked about because Simone Biles, who's a very decorated Olympian now for the same for gymnastics, pulled out not these last summer games, but the games before that because of the what they call the twisties, and it's like a vertigo thing where they can no longer feel where their body is in the air kind of thing. And she knew she was not confident with her doing these jumps and flips and twists. And so she said, you know what, I'm not going to perform. And it was kind of like a switch in the way that we think about athletes. Instead of like pushing them to injure themselves, it was like, no, I'm not sure my body can handle this. I'm going to step back. And then she came back in the next Olympics and crushed it. Like just took all the medals, right? So I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that her name came up.
I think a lot of athletes in the Olympics, I'm not sure it's entirely fair to put all the blame on the coaches because, and I'm not saying that they are without blame because they certainly have their share of blame in situations like this. But I think there's a lot of athletes that I think it falls into two camps. There's the ones who want to be pressured into doing it because they see that gold possibly being there and they want to go for it. And either they just themselves disregard the potential for long-term injury and long-term, disability, or they want to put up a show of being resistant, but they some level they want to be pushed into it. And I think there are also those who have created a reputation for themselves that they are Louis Anderson's, crybabies that, well, I don't want to, but they're doing it for attention. But I think the athletes, even where the majority of the blame lies in the hands of the trainers and the coaches, I think the athletes have some level of responsibility because there's a part of them that just wants to go for it. And I mean, this athlete from a few years ago that walked away and said, no, I can't do that. That I think that is the rarity because most athletes.
She came back and she just cleaned up.
Yeah. But I don't think most athletes would really have a problem allowing themselves to be pressured into doing it. We have a couple of comments here, one directly relevant to this conversation, and then I'll come back to some other ones.
Yeah.
One comment says, it sounds like you're mixing up Mary Lou Retton and Carrie Strug.
Oh, yes, I am. Okay. I am mixing them up.
Both had Bella Carolai, a famous Russian coach. Carrie's ankle had been wrecked.
Yes,
and she supposedly had to vault to save the team's medal.
Okay, yes, I am mixing the two up.
And then Mary Lou Retton had the first tans on individual events for an American when the Russians and Romanians had dominated the gymnastics events for years.
They look really similar in my defense. I'm looking at a picture of Mary Lou Retton right now, and they look like the same person. So my bad, you're right. I am mixing the two up.
A few minutes earlier, we had a comment about Louis Anderson and his weight and such. And the comment is, Louis Anderson's comedic stock in trade was his size and weight. The gags are offensive to us today, but Anderson made his living with those jokes. And this commenter is pretty sure that the episode was written specifically to spotlight his comedy.
No, and again, I realized that because I watched some of his stand-up comedy, and he did, but I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't, that doesn't work for me personally. It doesn't work.
But I mean, to this person's point, it's, we have this tendency to judge things from the past with today's standards and ideals. And it's a bit unfair to do that. And I understand what you're saying, that as a person watching this now in the 2000s, it's offensive, but back in the 1980s, or we go back to the 1950s or something that happened there in a movie or TV show, or back in the 1930s, something happened in a movie or on a radio show, the standards and the perceptions were different. And, something that was not considered offensive back then is now, and is it really fair to judge people for, we could judge ancient Roman culture based on today's standards too, or ancient Greek culture, or ancient this, that, or the other thing. It's not really fair because if this culture is this.
Well, to be fair, that's, I mean, if we're looking broad societal standards, personally myself, and even when I was a kid watching some of this stuff in the 80s, I never found fat jokes funny. I found them like icky, like that, like cheap, like that's low hanging fruit to me.
And not everybody's the same and has the same standards. So
yeah,
you're right. I mean, even in the 80s, even in the 50s, even in the 30s, there were going to be people that looked at that and said, no.
Or like you do it once, but then they keep doing it, right? So it's like, and this, like, going back to Mary Lou Retton, you're right. I mixed up her and Carrie Strug, but I did find this because I had a couple of Google links, because I did actually research this prior to. I didn't just quickly Google it now for once. And she was linked to the Larry Nassar gymnastics scandal in the sense that, like, he was a serial abuser, and I mean linked in the sense that her coach was linked to him, like, not that she was part of it. However, she has defended it, which is pretty gross. However, there was also a lot that she went through in terms of, like, fat shaming abuse that she went through after her 1984 Olympic gold, despite the fact that she only weighed 94 pounds. So she had spoken out about the abuse that she endured. She became the first American woman to win Olympic all-around title during the USA's home games in LA in 1984, which is probably why they're mentioning her.
Is this Mary Lou Retton or Carrie Strug?
No, this is Mary Lou Retton, because I'm actually looking at the article. The Olympic gold, combined with her 2 silver and 2 bronze, catapulted her to fame, not just within the gymnastics world, but on a global level. However, the gymnastic legend has now revealed that her rise to the status of overnight sensation wasn't easy, admitting she suffered severe fat shaming. I was considered a big girl. I was 4'9" and 94 pounds. A big girl, but that's what I was considered, she told people. I was considered the fat one. And I wasn't, and I'm looking at a picture of this girl. She's not fat. She's muscular for her size, but she's certainly not fat. Like, when I mean her size, I mean she's only 4'9", so like she's short, right? She adds, it hurts to be called something or not. They'd say, you're heavy, you're fat. This is not what gymnastics is supposed to look like. They used to say, who's the guy with the big thighs? They'd say Mary Lou with the Earl Campbell, like, yeah, gross. Anyway, so
yeah, but that sort of thing happens even now. You get
what
people
happens
that
now for sure. Like
that, I look at people, women in particular, that are called fat or whatever, and it's like, or they're, what's the term, plus size, and it's like, because some magazines have been had articles about how this magazine or this company or they're celebrating this plus size people, and I'm looking at it.
They're not plus size. They're like normal sized.
They're not even Rubenesque.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you on that too, because it was it drives me nuts. But so I don't want to go too far into the weeds with this. I thought it was interesting because she
too
was
late
also,
now.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. And it's my fault for mixing up her and Carrie Strug, because I looked at a picture and I guess she looks so much like her that I just thought it was her. And I just thought of like that whole conversation. But he mentions, you've got Mary Lou Retton, we've got Olga Korbut. So I looked her up, and she was a legendary gymnast from the Soviet Union whose performance in the 70s transformed the sport and made her one of the most famous athletes in the world. So she was born in 1955, part of the what was part of the Belarusian SSR in the Soviet Union. She competed for the Soviet gymnastics team in the 1972 Munich Olympics, and then again in 1976 in Montreal. Named the Sparrow from Minsk for her small stature, grace, and charisma. And her Olympic record includes multiple medals from the 72 Munich Games, including 3 golds for team, balance beam, and floor, silver on the uneven bars, and then in the Montreal Games, she got another team gold and individual silver. She was a revolutionary gymnast whose routines emphasized acrobatics, daring moves, and expressive performance, influencing the direction that women's gymnastics took. Korbut introduced signature skills, including a dramatic backflip on the uneven bars and balance beam, known as the Korbut flip or dead loop, which became iconic and later was removed from competition for safety reasons. She retired from elite competition in 1977 and later became a gymnastics coach. She eventually did move to the U.S. in 1991 and continued to teach gymnastics. So she became the first gymnast inducted into the International Gymnastics Hall of Fame. So it's kind of, I also wanted to highlight that legacy, because he mentions he's sort of highlighting these two parallel gymnasts, and they do feel very similar in that they both achieved like really big things for their countries. So I like Yvon. I like how he's trying to find similarities in two countries that were ideologically couldn't be more opposed if they wanted to be. Right. But he says, you've got a crime problem, we've got a crime problem. You had Mary Lou Retton, we have Ogle Corbett. Like he's seeing the similarities, right? He says
I've got a comment on some of the things he gets into later, but okay.
Okay, what's the comment?
Let's keep going. Okay, we'll get to it.
Yeah, he says the rich and poor have a long history on both sides of the Iron Curtain. And again, he's not wrong there. Mm-hmm. I like how he's trying to find their shared humanity. This is probably the only part of the episode that I think is really, really well done, is this element of it. Laura asks if he ever thought about defecting, and he says no, he has a good life. He says that the Russians are a stoic...
Broad,
yeah. Yeah, that's funny. He looks confused, and then he smiles, realizing he meant breed. She corrects him, and he smiles back. And they're just... This is sweet. There's like a real warmth between them, and it's like one of the few good moments in this episode, like this understanding between these two nations. And then there's a bit of comedy in the next bit, because Laura walks over to another box, and he says that they have their vodka and television. Laura asks if that makes them happy, and he says, Russian programming? He admits that mostly they watch smuggled American shows on smuggled Japanese VCRs. Then he says, it's the latest craze. They have all the latest police dramas.
Excuse me? All the latest? Okay. M Squad. He mentions M Squad.
1954.
1957 and 1960.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Produced by
I got
Lee.
1954 when I looked it up. But, okay.
Produced by Lee Marvin's Latimer Productions.
Racket
Squad. 1951 to 1953. Mod Squad. That's the only one that's even close. That was 68 to 73.
Yeah.
Highway Patrol. 55 to 59. Excuse me? Latest?
But that's not the first time they've made that joke, because like when they go to Mexico, if you remember, when they're, hey man, we got the Starsky and Hutch over here, right? Like there's always that joke that these other countries that are smuggling in American programs are years behind.
Yeah.
And I mean, it may be a bit of maybe not the most kind of an offensive joke, but it's, yeah. It is kind of funny, because then he's so like, I don't know, like almost boyishly excited to talk about these police dramas that he really likes. Really? He says, and best of all, Highway Patrol. And then he says 10-4.
Broderick Cufford.
Like he just looks so excited. He's like, I don't know. I think he expects Laura to be like, oh yeah, I watched that too. But you're right. They're like 30 years out of date, these shows that he's mentioning. But it's very cute. It is so cute. I really like him. Laura laughs, and they continue to look. At Marty Rome's, Steele and Bing are sitting at the table as he gets them a drink. He says, it sounds like they're lucky to be alive. Steele says, yes, lucky. He says he doesn't really believe him. He tells him that he doesn't mean to be hasty, but would he mind? And he gestures to the handcuffs. Rome tells Steele to say no more, then picks up the phone and says, wait, Smokey. Those are obviously the henchmen. Before putting the phone down. Bing suggests they call Miss Holt and let her know they are in safe hands. The door opens, and the two men from before walk in. Steele spits his drink out in surprise as he sees them. Marty says he understands they've already had the pleasure, and Steele asks if they work for him. Marty asks if he's surprised, and Steele says enlightened, adding that he thought they worked for the CIA. Bing wonders what he's talking about, and Steele says they can stop looking for the caviar. Bing says, what are you talking about? We can't stop now. And Steele tells Bing that Mr. Rome has the caviar. And Bing...
Thanks. Wow, this is great.
Being the idiot that he is, he does? And Marty says to Bing that he's the worst thing to ever happen to his father, but the best thing to ever happen to him. And I don't know, I'm kind of on Marty's side. I know that sounds terrible, but like, Bing looks at Steele and says, we're in trouble, aren't we?
Yeah.
Steele says, you catch on quick, adding that he likes that in a client. Marty instructs Wade and Smokey to put him on ice. The men pull out their guns, walk around to the chairs, and yank these still handcuffed Steele and Bing to their feet, pulling them out the door.
Yes.
I would just like to point out that this is a long sort of running trope in that, put them on ice and, you get the men that pull out the guns, but they don't actually use it, of course. They put them in some sort of like trap that, of course, they can get out of and then walk away. And yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So we've got a scene change. We go back to Laura and Yvonne. They're still in the warehouse looking through the boxes. Laura pulls out a jar of Rome caviar, noting that it says 100% American on the jar. She asks Yvonne what he knows about caviar. He corrects her on the pronunciation of his name. That's where, and asks, what do Americans know about hot dogs? I like how he's compared caviar and hot dogs. That I think is...
but the thing is, he's also wrong, because for a lot of people, it's a hot dog. So what? Well, this is a different brand. It tastes different. Yeah, it tastes like a hot dog to me,
Yeah, I don't like hot dogs personally. I'm not a fan. Unless they're like barbecued and charbroiled within an inch of their life, to the point where you're eating like charred remains of what was meat-like product. I am not a fan. We've talked about this before, so it's just not my thing. So
A&W Coney's. A&W Coney's. No onion. And then a ice cold mug of A&W root beer. Oh man, such a good so good.
I'll take your word for it. But not a fan. So she asks, he says, what do Americans know about hot dogs? He opens it, tastes it, saying it's the real McCoy, 100% Russian.
Well, he also says it's Golden Row, and I'm not, as we discussed earlier, I don't know nothing about caviar. I don't want to know nothing about caviar, but from the information I found, that's not Golden Row, because Golden Row is literally a golden color, and what we see here is black.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. So this is sorry, I don't know anything about caviar either. So. The door opens and we get the troop walking in. Yeah. She holds up the jar and says, then why does the label say 100% American? The door opens and the two men come in, pulling Steele and Bing with them. Laura and Yvonne duck down and watches the two men shove Steele and Bing into the walk-in freezer. So my daughter and I were watching. My daughter and I were watching Austin Powers the other day, and there's that scene where he basically like gets called out on the fact that he doesn't kill. Like it's kind of a joke about how on in the James Bond movies they never actually kill James Bond when they should kill James Bond. Like they, so there's this moment where he says, "I'd like to introduce you to Daddy's nemesis," and his son, played by Seth Green, he's like, "What, you're feeding him?" And he's like, "No, I'm going to put him in an overly elaborate, easily escapable trap and walk away and assume it all went to plan. What?" And then his son's like, "I got a gun. I can go up to my room. We can shoot him together." And he's like, "You just don't get it, Scott." To his son. Like, that's this is just how it's done sort of moment. So this kind of made me think of that. Because this is the supervillain school of murder.
Well, I haven't seen those movies. I have copies of them on my computer that somehow mysteriously showed up. But I do want to watch them. But the one thing I do know about the Austin Powers movies is that they've got a great Alan Parsons reference in one of them.
Yes, I will call it the Alan Parsons Project.
I love that.
They are.
I'm an Alan Parsons fan, so
they are extremely juvenile. So you have to just be fine with the fact that the humor is really, really juvenile. But if you can get on board with that,
smart. So
yeah, if you can get on board with that, you'll have a great time because they are quite funny. And this bit is one of the things that I really love is like, "I've got a gun. We can shoot him together." And he's like, "No, I'm just going to walk away and assume it all went to plan." What? and then he says, "Begin the unnecessarily slow dipping mechanism," as it's like putting them down. And he wanted them to have be dipped into this pool with sharks that had laser beams. And his henchman's like, "Sir, we couldn't get the sharks because of animal control or something like that." So
this sounds like something from Kim Possible.
with
one of their villains.
Yeah. So he's like, "All I wanted was sharks with frickin' laser beams. What do we have? Sea bass." So yeah, if you get a chance to watch it, you'll find it funny. But this is basically the supervillain school of murder. They could just shoot them, but instead they put them in the freezer.
Yeah.
So Laura and Yvonne watch, and they wait for the men to leave. Then they open the door. Steele is surprised to see Laura. He tells her not a moment too soon. Well, I mean, they probably could have survived in there for a little bit longer, but whatever.
Yes.
She tells Yvonne to get the handcuffs, and he does, ushering Bing out of the freezer. Steele is surprised to see that Yvonne is on their side, and Laura says, "Scary, isn't it?" They all leave and close the freezer door. Back at the office, Laura is trying to explain what's going on to Bing. He says, "Think of it this way. Martin Rome approaches the commissar of caviar, Denisovich, and cons him into rerouting the caviar through Bulgaria to him for a price, of course. Steele adds that Mr. Rome gets rid of the middleman, which is Bing, and increases profits. Yvonne adds that Denisovich leaves the Soviet Union and becomes big American millionaire. Laura points out that Martin Rome never intended to pay up. Laura says that he must have figured Denisovich would never get out of Russia to come collecting, and Yvonne declares that Martin Rome is a treacherous man. And Bing, and again, this is where we're supposed to feel sorry for him, right? This is one of those moments, because he crosses his arms sadly and says he was my best friend. And obviously, this guy has no friends.
Yeah.
And
neither does Martin Rome.
No, but I mean, I'd feel bad for him if he were simply maybe a little bit clueless rich kid who is desperately trying to get daddy's attention, but is ultimately like just kind of, no, he's selfish to the point of being almost a sociopath, because he turns on a dime when people can help him or, are useful to him. He's oh, it's me, it's Bing, whatever. And then the minute they're no longer useful, he just, you'll be hearing from my attorney, oh, I guess your lamp wasn't that sturdy or something, like just that. Yeah. So we're supposed to feel bad for him here, and I just don't. Yeah. Laura says to Bing that every year they have a polo match and invite all the buyers to place their orders, right? Bing nods and says so. Steele tells him that this year in Rome's tent, his buyers will have the chance to sample the best American caviar to rival the Russians that they have ever tasted. Yvonne says that's because what they are eating will be Russian. Laura says exactly. Steele says that Rome will convince all the buyers to do business with him by convincing them that American caviar is just as good as Russian caviar.
Is Laura Russian caviar really that much better than anybody else's? I have to wonder. That's like the people who say that bagels from this particular shop in New York are the best. They're better than anything anywhere else. Nobody else makes a bagel that tastes as good because these are the... Really? You think so?
I mean, there's certain places that can lay claim to things like Chicago deep dish pizza or Philadelphia cheesesteaks sort of thing. I don't know. I've never had either one of those, but
those are things that they made famous because they invented them there. But that doesn't mean that they're the only ones that make it good.
No,
that doesn't mean that theirs are better than somebody else's.
But if you go to like Quebec, you're going to have poutine there that's better than anything that you'd get anywhere else in Canada. And they invented it. So I don't know. For those of you who don't know what the hell I'm talking about, poutine is a Canadian food staple that is basically French fries covered with gravy and cheese curds. But they have to be like proper cheese curds, and they're melted onto the fries. And I'm not sure. I've been told it's French for big mess, but I think that might just be a joke. I don't know if that's actually true, and I've never looked it up. So, but yeah, poutine is like a thing there, and or ice wine in Niagara. Like if you're going into Niagara and you get ice wine, like or you go to Halifax, you get a donair, and that's like a big thing. I don't even know if they have donairs anywhere else.
I don't even know what a donair is.
So it was invented by a Greek immigrant that came to Halifax, who basically took traditional Greek gyros, which were like wrapped. Well, we say gyros. We say them wrong here, I guess. By using spiced ground beef and unique sweet sauce made with condensed milk, and mixed it with like the doner kebab, and it became like a regional staple because it's kind of like a mixture of the two. The difference being that he replaced lamb with seasoned ground beef and introduced the signature sweet donair sauce, which is condensed milk, vinegar, sugar, and garlic powder, and it's served with pita bread, tomatoes, and raw onions. And so good. It's like... Yeah, it is good.
Gyros. I like gyros.
Basically the kind of thing that you eat coming out of the bar at 2 a.m. when you're like really hammered, and there's like a stand, but it's delicious. It's like best thing. Anyway, totally not relevant to what we're talking about.
No, not at all. But when has that ever stopped us?
I don't know if Russian caviar is truly better than American. I don't know anything about caviar. To me, it sounds like slimy and disgusting no matter where you get it from. But Laura continues saying that it's better because it's cheaper. 6 months down the line, Bing would be out of business, Russia would be in trouble, and Rome would have made tremendous inroads into the caviar business. Yvonne declares this man is enemy of the people and must be stopped. He's so cute. I love him. Laura shoots Steele a look, who smiles and looks back at Bing. The next day, we see Mildred painting a sign on a large white catering van that says Martin Rome Enterprises in blue. We then see an identical van that actually belongs to Rome being pulled over by Laura and Bing dressed as cops and in a fake cop car.
You know, if,
they get it.
If he's a Los Angeles police officer, they need to raise their standards a little bit. Well, the sad part is that he's probably fairly representative of some of them. I used to be law enforcement security in the Air National Guard in Oregon, and they have what's called the Fat Boy program. That's just slang term throughout. I think a lot of the military for a program of putting people who are overweight on a program to get them down to size, or they have to go. And we had people that could have rivaled Bing. We had one guy he would come in and have 2 grocery sacks full of junk food. He'd bring those into work with him. But for lunch, he'd have a salad and a Diet Coke because he wanted to watch his weight.
Well, we get more fat jokes here with Bing struggling to get out of the car. Mm-hmm. They walk up to the van. The man driving it says, "Well, don't this beat all?" Pulled over by a broad and a blimp. Laura, in a no-nonsense voice, asks to see his registration. And as he gets it out, he asks whether there's a weight limit on cops anymore. Bing says, this is probably the only, again, one of the few points in the episode where I'm like, I could like Bing if we'd seen more of this. Because he responds with, "My brother's the commissioner," and asks, "You want to make something out of it?"
Well, and in the context of the episode, this guy's reaction to Bing and his weight is not unexpected. I mean, that's the kind of thing that somebody would say, because you typically think of cops as being people who are in somewhat decent physical shape, at a minimum. In decent physical shape. I don't know that I would
say it to a cop that's pulled me over, though.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is that that you if somebody like that came up in a police uniform to you, you think, okay, you know, where's the cameras? This candid camera, this is a joke, right?
Well, and we, again, not to go back to Die Hard, but we see the same sort of thing in Die Hard with Reginald VelJohnson, who also played a cop in Family Matters. He was the main character, the dad, in that show, and he was a police officer. He also plays a police officer in Die Hard, and he's the first scene you see him in, he's in a grocery store buying a bunch of Twinkies, and the clerk says, he gives him a look, and he says, "My wife's pregnant. It's our first child." And the clerk's like, "Yeah, sure." And he's like, "Just bag it." Right? And so, like, apparently, though, because
the
of
donut shop closed?
Apparently, because of that, the actor says he later received, like, tons of Twinkies in the mail from fans of the movie, and he was like, "Don't send me any more Twinkies. I'm sick of Twinkies." So
I never liked Twinkies, so
yeah, like, I have seen this joke about cops and stuff before. Again, it's just adding it on to all the other stuff. Plus, if somebody's just pulled you over, why would you mock their weight?
No,
like,
you don't.
That's just stupid.
No, but I mean, I can see somebody doing that. There are people who would do that.
It's just dumb. Like, you could try to get out of a ticket if you're going to receive a ticket, or you could mock the cop and get it. Anyway, they're not really cops, but still, he doesn't know that. Laura tells him to get out of the truck. Bing yanks the guy out of the car and shoves him against it. Laura tells him that they're taking him in on suspicion of driving a stolen vehicle. She tells Bing to read him his rights. Bing tells him he's got the right to remain silent. When he doesn't say anything else, the man's like, "That's it." Bing replies, "What do you want? The Magna Carta? Let's go."
I love that.
This is funny. This part's funny. I'm like, if Louis Anderson had done sort of this kind of thing throughout I would have enjoyed him a hell of a lot more, because he's actually funny as this pretending to be the cop.
Yeah, that's great. "What do you want? The Magna Carta?"
The man says he has to be somewhere in an hour and asks about his truck. Laura tells him it will be towed to the impound lot. The man gets in the back, and so does Bing. Why? Why does he get in the back? I guess it's for another fat joke, because the man says "ow" and Bing says "move over."
Well,
but why would he get in the? You don't get in the back of the suspect.
I recall seeing that sort of thing in TV shows in the past, and I don't know if that was actual normal procedure or not. Where
I have no idea.
One officer would get in the back with the suspect.
It
seems stupid, but
it is. Yeah, it does. Seems stupid to me, but, like, especially if, like, I don't know, the guy hits you with his elbow, and anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, they drive away just as Mildred and Yvonne drive up in the other identical van, and they park behind the first one. They get out, and Yvonne puts a step stool on the ground so that Mildred can climb up and start spray painting the sign that says Martin Rome Enterprises. Yvonne
Except
gets
the paint that she's using doesn't match.
I know.
And and it's different later when you see it. It's just like, I know, hand wave.
Yvonne gets into the driver's seat, grabs the keys, and switches them. Meanwhile, we see Laura and Bing driving the man in the cop car. She tells Bing, who is going by Ronald, that they're supposed to get off at 3:30. Bing says so, and Laura replies, well, if they take him down and book him, they'll have to write a report and they won't get out till 9. She hands the ticket back to Bing and suggests they turn the other cheek on this one. He looks at it, thinks for a moment, and says his brother is the commissioner, so he won't get in any trouble. What the heck?
He says he won't get into any trouble.
Yeah. That's true. They turn around and drive back. Meanwhile,
I'm sorry,
Yvonne...
Ray-Bans they don't do it for anybody. I don't care what anybody says. Ray-Bans are not cool.
Says you.
Yeah. Your point.
I like Ray-Bans, okay? Meanwhile, Yvonne is behind the wheel of the first truck, which is now completely white, and Mildred pulls the fake truck up to that spot, gets out, and joins Yvonne in the first truck. They drive away just as Laura and Bing pull up to the fake truck. They let the man out, and Bing tells the man to stay off his beat, punk, before getting back into the passenger side of the car. As Laura and Bing drive away, we hear her say, let's get these costumes back to the studio.
Okay, how did they even get them
I don't know. I mean, would genuinely like to know how this went down, because...
even before... Well, first of all, how did they get the fake cop car and the uniforms out of the studio? But then again, how did they get into the studio in the first place?
Yeah, because I could buy it if they had rented the costumes and said they were from a studio, right? Because that's how you get the costumes. But no, they got them from the studio along with the car. Yeah. So yeah, how did they manage that one?
Also, I think it was in this scene here. I noticed something that I never noticed before.
Oh?
Stephanie has double pierced. It looks like Stephanie has double pierced earrings or double pierced ears.
They could be clip-ons, though. I mean, I don't know we know she has pierced ears because we've seen her wear earrings. But
yeah, it's just, on the one side, it's hard to tell. It could just be a reflection from the back side of the earring, but it almost looks like they're double pierced. It just looks weird to me.
Yeah, we'll have to look for that in the future. At the polo field, Steele is playing against Rome, who tells him he's more clever than he thought. Steele says on or off the field, and Rome says both. And I looked up polo because, I have seen this game in movies, and I genuinely don't really understand it. It looks like cricket or croquet, sorry, not cricket. It looks like croquet on a horse.
Yeah, it does kind of, yeah.
Yeah, so it's, according to Wikipedia, it is a stick and ball game that is played on horseback as a traditional field sport. It is one of the world's oldest known team sports, originating as Shovgan, it's of Persian descent, over 2,000 years ago and later adopted by the Western world from its modern form developed in India. It's been called the sport of kings and has become a spectator sport for equestrians and high society, often supported by sponsorship. So basically, I'm not going to go through all the things, but in terms of how it's played, I'm just seeing if I can find any sort of this is contemporary polo. Yeah, it's just going through all the countries. Rules. The rules of polo are written to include the safety of both players and horses. Games are monitored by the umpires. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it's basically games are monitored. A whistle is blown when the infraction occurs and penalties are awarded. Strategic plays in polo are based on the line of the ball, an imaginary line that extends through the ball in the line of travel. This line traces the ball's path and extends past the ball along the trajectory. The line of the ball defines rules for players to approach the ball safely. The line of the ball changes each time the ball changes direction. The player who hits the ball generally has the right of way, and the other players cannot cross the line of the ball in front of that player. As players approach the ball, they ride on either side of the line, which is why we see them sort of riding parallel to each other, giving each access to the ball. Player can cross the line of the ball when it does not create a dangerous situation. Most infractions and penalties are related to players improperly crossing the line of the ball or the right of way. So yeah, that's basically they have to get it to the other side, I guess. Win points.
Sounds more complicated than it's worth.
It does. It really does. Anyway, we switch back to see Laura and Bing drive back to the film studio, where they get out of the car. And as you said, a man demands to know where they've been, as they had an 11 o'clock call. So he assumes they are either actors or extras.
Actors, yeah.
Laura improvises, saying they had a bit of trouble with wardrobe. The man says he asked for a white cop and a black cop and says, doesn't anybody read scripts around here? Now, I would say this was a Lethal Weapon reference, but it hadn't come out yet. So this is kind of funny that this episode has like that line, that throwaway line, because this later became sort of like a formula, preceded Lethal Weapon, which was one of the first movies to kind of like...
Didn't Eddie Murphy do but that would have been afterwards.
That was just... No, you're thinking of Beverly Hills Cop, which came out in 1985, but that was, and Steele actually references Beverly Hills Cop in a later episode, but that was just one cop. It wasn't a buddy cop thing. This is the buddy cop, black cop, white cop formula. He had Judge Reinhold in it because like the plot of that movie is that he goes to L.A. and he has
deals with the local LA cops.
Yeah, but it's not really.
It's not the same thing. Okay.
It's more adversarial because like half of the movie he's trying to stop them from stopping him. It isn't until the like last act of the film where they work together. Whereas with Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, they're partners all the way through. But yeah, this just seems very Lethal Weapon-y, and Lethal Weapon hadn't come out yet. So he pauses and talks to someone using an earpiece, saying, "Yeah, they're here." He tells them to stay out of the way until he calls them and walks away. Laura looks over at the trailer next to them and suggests they get out of their uniforms. Yeah, because you're going to end up on a film set if you don't.
Yeah, right.
She goes in the door marked for women, and he goes in the one marked for men. Inside, she talks to Bing through the wall. She tells him that she will call Fred and get him to take him back to the agency. She and Mr. Steele will then take care of Martin Rome. Bing says, "Don't you think I ought to be there?" But Laura tells him that Rome's men will be looking for him. Bing says he has a confession to make and admits that it's not easy being him, living in Daddy's shadow, following in his footsteps. He says that he knows he means well, but the problem is that he's overbearing. Bing admits he's never had to do anything for himself his entire life. He says he doesn't know how to do anything and that he couldn't if his life depended on it. And again, this is where we're supposed to feel like bad for Bing.
Mm-hmm.
But all I'm hearing is blah, blah, blah. I've got lots of money. Poor me. Which...
Mm-hmm. Well, the problem is he's obnoxious and irresponsible, and he takes absolutely no responsibility for anything. Now, in fairness, I think these are the kind of things that would be symptomatic of somebody who's been emotionally abused or emotionally
stunted.
Crushed. Put it that way. Yeah, stunted. So they use the power, position, and authority that they kind of have, or that they have access to through their parents or whatever, as a way to crush others so that they can feel competent. But at some point, just because you're raised in that environment, raised in that situation, doesn't mean you have to turn out that way.
Yeah.
You know, you can say, I don't like this. I have to deal with it as it is right now, but I'm not going to be that kind of a person. And you don't have to be.
Yeah.
And so this comes off as being, it's my daddy's fault. No.
He's a 33-year-old man. Like,
yeah, your dad may have created the environment where it's easy for you to become that person, but you didn't have to become that person.
Yeah.
You
like
let
at a certain
that situation
point,
make you that.
You're a grown-ass man, so you can
And I do like Laura's sweater. It's a
little bit
obnoxious on the red, but and the flower. But I'm sorry.
I'm into the sweater. There is a comment on polo. In polo, points or goals are earned by hitting the ball with a mallet between the opposing team's goalposts, with each successful shot counting as 1 point. So that's better than my explanation, which was all over the place.
And I still don't understand it.
Laura throws on, in my notes I have, Laura throws on an absolutely gorgeous sweater. It looks fantastic on her.
Oh,
this is a
she
good
always looks good in sweaters.
She does.
Sweaters always look good on her is probably the better way to say it.
Well, there's no shoulder pads, so that's one plus.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So she starts to say she understands, but Bing continues saying,
"What's wrong with natural shoulders?"
At the time.
No, regardless of at the time, I'm violating my rule from earlier of judging things based on current standards. But I'm sorry, never have padded shoulders been appealing. I don't think to anybody.
I mean, it's one of those things where, like, at the time, this is, and I talk about society, not individual taste, because society often dictates what is or is not in fashion, right? If you think about like the 90s and how that heroin chic look of being so thin, you look like you're gonna like fall apart. that became attractive. In this case, the concept of having a silhouette, or like a very sharp silhouette, was considered to be attractive. So you wanted to have that, like those sharp lines.
Fortunately, I have never been a victim of trends.
Yeah, well, what's frustrating, and I've said this before, is that like even kids stuff came with them. So like all of my school pictures, like every blouse I ever bought from when I was a child up until recently, I was cutting them out. That's the first thing you'd do, is you'd get the blouse, you'd cut out the shoulder pads, because like nobody liked them.
Yeah.
But yeah, the sweater's beautiful. She tells him she understands, and Bing continues saying that all he ever wanted was to be like Daddy. And even though it's the one thing he wants, it's also the one thing he will never let him be. He says that because of that, he eats and spends and acts silly. He says he's tired of it, and now he has a chance to do something about it, and he's not going to pass that up. And here's the thing. If they were planning to do anything in this episode and take any sort of responsibility for the fat jokes, or to sort of acknowledge that the fat jokes were, then this line would land, but it really doesn't. Like his line about, and I eat, and it really doesn't land, because it's the whole episode has been like, haha, he's fat, and now
you have no
this
empathy
one line
for him.
Yeah, you're like, okay, well, why should I care? Because like this whole episode has made you into a joke in a very either physical way or just you're a horrible human. I don't really have any sympathy for you, like at all.
Yeah, he's a horrible human, and you have no sympathy for him. That's regardless of his weight or anything else. All that aside, he's a bad person that nobody wants to be friends with because his personality sucks.
When I say he's repulsive, I don't mean, I'm not talking about his person. Physical. He's repulsive as a human. Like there's. So he throws on a jacket, goes outside the trailer, and he basically puts the billy club, the nightstick, whatever you want to call that thing, through the handle and over the opening, and traps her in there. And he gets into the Rabbit and steals her car.
Yeah.
And drives away as she's yelling at him to open the door. So, yeah. Back at the polo field, Steele is still playing as the tent labeled Perrette Caviar is set up. It's completely empty. There's no customers. But right beside it, Rome's tent is full of people milling around. We see the crates being unloaded from the truck as Bing drives up in the Rabbit. He sees the tent and looks around, picking up a rock and throwing it to get the attention of the two henchmen. They see him, and Bing walks away, leading them to go after him. I'm not entirely sure what his plan was here. But okay.
No plan, probably.
Yeah, because he's an idiot. The two men follow Bing, who crosses the street and begins to run. They split up, and Bing runs to hide in the barn. One of the men approaches it with his gun drawn, and Bing opens the top door and accidentally knocks the guy out. This wasn't intentional. He didn't know he was going to be there.
Yeah, and he had really no way of seeing through that door to know the guy was standing there.
And it really shouldn't have knocked him out. But again, for purpose of the plot, he's handled. He's gone.
Yes.
In the distance, we see Laura being dropped off in a punch buggy. Sorry, station wagon.
Punch buggy?
Punch buggy. Yeah. Anytime you see those wood-paneled station wagons, you go punch buggy and you hit somebody.
No. That's slug bug.
It's a punch buggy.
Slug bug. You see a Volkswagen. No, you see a Volkswagen bug, and that's a slug bug.
This may be regional, so if anyone wants to weigh in here, I have never. It's punch buggy to me. It's a station wagon, wood panel station wagon. It's punch buggy.
Nope. That is not a real thing. That is not a real thing. Slug bug is a real thing. Anyway,
I'm Googling it. Yeah, they're regional. Ha 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 ha. I'm correct.
No, slug bugs are worldwide.
No,
slug bug is a worldwide game.
Not according to Google.
Well, what does Google know? It tells you to put white glue on your pizza to keep the cheese from coming off.
Canada and the UK typically go with punch buggy. Apparently in the US, if you're in the Midwest or the South or the Plains or the South, it's a punch buggy. If you're in the Northeast and parts of the Midwest, it's a slug bug. So I am correct.
The little faith and trust I had in Google has just been destroyed and crushed.
Anyway, Laura's in a punch buggy. But who drove her? Whose wagon is that?
She hitchhiked a ride, or somebody from the studio gave her a lift. I don't know.
Maybe. Or she stole it.
Hey, I mean, if you were driving down the road and somebody like her was hitchhiking a ride, if you were a guy, you'd stop.
Fair enough. So yeah, she sees the henchman on the ground outside the barn and she goes inside. Inside, Bing is cornered by the other man. He tells him, go ahead and shoot, and asks him if he knows how hard it is to stop a charging rhino.
It reminds me of the guy from Atomic Man.
Yeah. They may get him, but not before he mauls them.
That's right.
Okay. Laura grabs a shovel and sneaks up behind him. The man points the gun at Bing and tells him to shut up and die. And sadly, Laura stops him by hitting him with a shovel. It's unfortunate, but Bing
Not
survives
really
another day.
But I don't know what it is, but it's not a
Whatever.
shovel. It's something.
She hits him with something, and unfortunately, Bing doesn't die, so he's still around. He falls to the ground, taking her with him. Oh, thank God, I thought he was going to shoot me. Yeah, because you threw a rock and got his attention and then walked into a barn to let him shoot you.
Yeah.
You might as well have been wearing a sign that says, I'm a moron, please shoot me.
FAFO?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 100%. Oh, look, the consequences of my actions. Yeah.
Wow. What a thing. Who would have thought?
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
That's right.
Yeah. Meanwhile, on the polo field, Steele hits the ball and the crowd claps. He leads his horse down the field, and Marty rides up beside him, telling him that he will have his day yet. He always does. Steele tells him not to bet on that, not yet anyway. And just as he says this, a yell can be heard coming from Rome's tent. Steele and Marty ride their horses over to the tent. Marty gets down as one of the buyers clutches his mouth in pain. He looks at the evidence on his hand and in shock realizes the caviar he just ate is not in fact caviar at all, but a ball bearing.
Wouldn't somebody have noticed before they got it in their mouth? I don't know. I don't know. I don't do caviar, so
maybe I don't know either. But yeah, you'd certainly notice when you put it in your mouth.
Oh yeah.
Steele comments that it's Bulgarian, he believes, and Marty says, "Don't be absurd." He inspects the caviar, but obviously does not like what he sees. He rushes to open the crate. Yvonne appears, and he and Mildred watch as he opens the crate to reveal the ball bearings. Panicking, Marty opens the next crate, and the body of Denisovich falls out. The crowd gasps, and Marty makes a run for it. Steele, still on the horse, tells people to mind their backs as he guides the horse through the tent and goes after Marty. He jumps off the horse and onto Marty, tackling him to the ground, pulls him up, punches him, and then comedically clutches his fist in pain as Marty falls back onto the ground. I love that.
We have a comment. Oh,
okay.
A listener says that Punch Buggy in New England, U.S., where she was raised or he was raised, same rules as Slug Bug. What her Midwest or what this person's Midwest-born husband calls it.
Yes, so, there's a point for Punch Buggy. Woo!
I'm sorry. All such comments are disqualified and no longer valid. You have been permanently banned.
We need T-shirts. Mine should say Punch Buggy and yours needs to say Slug Bug. We need I was thinking about that. Or T-shirts where mine says like he wrote a note. He did not write a note, and yours says he wrote a note. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway. Punch Buggy. Laura and Bing run up, and Bing exclaims his name in surprise, and Steele, clutching his hand, says, "I know, put it on your bill." What's he referring to here? Put what on his bill?
The doctor's bill for the hand.
Oh, sorry. Wow. I apologize. That is my Canadian. To me, that joke flew right over my head. Put the horse on his bill? The caviar? What's he put? Okay. Yeah, got it. Doctor's bill. I feel stupid.
Yeah, well, I mean, what do you expect from somebody who believes in Punch Buggy?
hey, to be fair, okay, if it were here, he'd just go to the doctor and he'd pay for parking, and that's about it. So it never occurred to me. It just...
Yeah.
At the offices for Perrette Caviar, we see Bing take a drink of water from the fountain, and he's trying to get the courage to go into his father's office. Laura, Mildred, and Steele are there to cheer him on. Why? Why?
Client obligation, I guess.
It's not.
And I am disappointed in that sweater that they have Laura/Stephanie in. That should be a sweater dress.
It should be. Yeah, I thought the same thing. It should have like a belt around it and then be more of a...
And then just nothing...
I agree.
I was going to say nothing underneath it, but I mean, you know what I mean.
Underwear, I hope.
I meant, yeah.
You should probably stop talking now.
Yes.
That reminds me.
I was in the ignorance of saying things that you don't you don't mean the way they come out. I was in college and I knew this gal, and talking about her looks, and she was kind of short, but I'll say significantly well endowed. And she was talking about, for some reason, she had this idea that guys, weren't attracted to her because of being top heavy. And I made the comment of, I went over there one day and she was dressed in something and she apologized for her looks. And I said, don't worry about it. You'd even look good in a bed sheet. And it's like, oh,
no,
that's not what I meant. and I didn't even, she caught it before I did. And it's like,
that's funny.
It's not what I meant, but okay. Whoops. True, but not what I meant.
Yeah, I know. I get it. That's funny though. So yeah, for some reason they're there to support Bing. I have no idea why, but whatever.
Client obligation, yes.
Yeah, sure. He maybe to ensure they actually get their check. Maybe that's it. He walks towards the door and then turns around saying that he's scared and can't do it. Laura says, "Of course you can." And Steele tells him about an old Somali proverb, "A brave man." And I feel like an idiot because I'm looking this up, right? And then we get to the end and he's like, it's a movie reference, of course. Yeah. But I'm just like Googling it, trying to find this Somali proverb. Brave man is only afraid of a lion 3 times in his life: when he first sees the tracks, when he first hears it roar, and when he first looks it in the eye. Steele tells him to have a stiff upper lip and watch his backside. Laura hugs him. Why? And goes back to the door. He throws it open and says, Dad, it's time to have a man-to-man talk. There's got to be some changes around here. Steele smiles as he goes into the office. He listens at the door for a moment. Mildred says she loved that story about the lion. And Steele says, Gregory Peck to Robert Preston, The Comer Affair, United Artists, 1957. Peck plays a safari guide and Preston a big game hunter. Laura thinks for a moment and says, Preston was killed in that one, wasn't he?
Oh, come on. You're telling me Laura knows about this movie.
I mean, maybe she saw it. Who knows?
I mean, it's 1947. I think it was probably a B movie at best. Okay, maybe Steele made her watch it, but I can't imagine that it was available on DVD or VHS.
No, wait, maybe you're right, though. Maybe Steele made her watch it because he's now got that VCR.
But I don't think it was ever released on VHS.
I don't know. They went to see it at a theater that was showing old movies. Just
okay.
It.
Yeah, sure. Right.
This is your issue?
Remembered it. And she remembered it.
This is your issue. Preston was killed in that one, wasn't he? He's minor plot point. And then he offers his arm to both women, saying, "Shall we?" as they walk away. That could have been the tag. That could have easily been the tag, right? And I realize that they obviously had this extra bit partly for time, but I really like the fact that this is the actual tag because it's a really nice tie-up with Yvonne, who's my favorite character in this episode, not Bing. So back at Steele's apartment, we see he's tried to recreate his romantic evening. There's a bottle chilling in the fire. There's a bottle chilling in the fire. I didn't finish my sentence. There's a bottle chilling and the fire has been lit.
Yeah, you finished your sentence. You just cut the middle out and shoved the 2 ends together.
I have a head injury. I cannot be held responsible. He pulls out the bottle and pours some into both of their glasses. She smiles and he's delighted to have her all alone. But of course,
no.
Just before they take a sip, his buzzer goes off. Steele glares at the door, but reluctantly goes to answer it. As he opens it, Mildred and Yvonne enter, and Mildred tells him that Yvonne is on his way home. Laura is a little disappointed. She says she thought he was going to stay a few days and go to Disneyland. That's so cute. I can see him in Disneyland with the little Mickey ears on, right? Like, he'd be adorable. Like, just, I don't. He says there's been a change of plans. They want to give him a medal for saving the reputation of the Russian government. Apparently, caviar is extremely important. Mildred grabs 2 glasses and Steele pours some champagne for both of them, observing that he seems to have become a national hero. Yvonne comments that he'd prefer to have a raise, and Mildred says she'll drink to that. She just got a raise.
Hey, you can never have too much raises. Too many raises. Too much raisins. I don't know.
Yeah. She strong-armed them out of a raise in coffee, tea, or Steele, and now she's got another one. Or she's saying, I'll drink to that. Like, come on. Yvonne directs the toast to better relations between our two countries. Steele comments that he was thinking of better relations closer to home.
Yeah.
And then he says bottoms up. Mildred says cheers. And then I looked up these toasts because it looked like, and I wasn't sure about the pronunciation, but it looked like Steele says tovarich, which means comrade, from what I could find. And Laura says Nostrovia, which means to your health. And then they toast.
I think that's a little hokey, but I mean, it's a little bit like Dancer Prancer, Blitzen and Steele, or whatever.
I mean, it is very much kind of like a very special episode tagged onto the end, in the sense that it's like openly sort of admitting to a current political situation with these characters. But
to me, it's just too much of almost breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like seeing Yvonne again and him talking about how he wanted to go to Disneyland.
Yeah.
He's cute. He's just cute. And it's pretty much, he's my only joy in this episode. So the rest of it, I just want to like throttle Bing or watch him, fall down a cliff, or I don't know, die horribly.
But we're not vindictive and evil people. We just,
Sure. I am. Anyway, I would call this the first dud of the season. And that's kind of which, to be fair, still makes season 4 pretty darn good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because a couple of people.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
I too get tired of the fat jokes. I mean, but overall, I thought the episode was pretty good. Had some good moments in it. And if you look at it as just I'm not going to say slapstick, but as a I'm thinking of a term and I can't think of it, but
screwball?
But it just not really screwball. No, it relies heavily on physical jokes, physical comedy in the sense of Laurel and Hardy, the chubby guy and the skinny guy, that sort of thing. The contrast, the spoiled brat character who doesn't seem to realize that nobody likes him. It has some humor, and I'll admit it's dated humor, but I mean, overall, I thought it was a decent episode myself.
I don't know if maybe I would have had a little bit more patience for it in season 2 or season 1 or something like that, but I think I don't know. I think just the overall quality of season 4, this episode strikes me as particularly bad. And I just kind of like,
well, that's the thing about it, is it's an unfair competition being in season 4.
Well, and the thing is, I think we've talked about how before the show is so good at choosing their guest stars, and how the guest stars often make the episode that much better. And in this case, I feel like he is a detriment, and that's why it kind of drags.
Well, I don't think he's a detriment to me, in the sense that he is being, with this character, exactly what the script called for. I would say he's actually he is a perfect fit for this character, and he does it well. Now the character is repulsive.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. Like they usually write their guest characters a bit, I don't know, there's a bit more depth to them. There's more depth to them. They're not just these extremely one-dimensional caricatures. Yeah, like even Rocky Sullivan, who is supposed to be this. Yeah,
she was definitely treated with a lot more compassion. You definitely felt more for her, and I didn't like Rocky, but you definitely felt more for her than you did for Bing. Yes,
she's got layers to her that Bing just doesn't have. So it just doesn't work for me, and somebody, because we had commented we read that letter, that email that was sent to us in premium, I think it was, and a few people commented on the Facebook group about season 4, and they weren't the people that wrote the original letter, but both said that they felt that their relationship suffered in season 4 because they don't push them any forward at all. But I actually think that we see a lot more forward movement with Laura and Steele. I mean, do they sleep together? No, not canonically anyway. I mean, there's obviously the assumption that they are, but the writers just don't acknowledge it. Canonically, they say they haven't, but we do see them communicating more. We see them actually talking about their problems. We see, there's the stuff in with BJ Sinclair or whatever, but like we actually see in Steele, when he goes to jail, that conversation between them when she gets him out. We see the conversation between them in Premium where he admits to being scared, and they have that moment in the hotel room. Like there's later on when we get to even with Dancer Prancer Donner, like the exchanges they have about the gun, or later on when we get to Sensitive Steele, there's a lot of moments in this season where they have adult conversations that they haven't had up until this point, and I like that. So,
well, we've talked about in the past how the relationship between the two is very much a TV style relationship.
Yes.
And not necessarily reflective of how real life relationships go, but in the sense that you're talking about, this season kind of parallels a real life relationship.
Yeah.
In the sense that when you first meet somebody, and for the first year or two, there is that very sharp rise in the forward movement. You get a lot of forward movement between people early on in the relationship because they're learning more about each other and all this is going on. But then after a while, after a couple of years, the forward momentum slows down because you already know a lot of that basic stuff that you've already gotten through. There isn't as much to learn at that point. And so the revelations, the progress in the relationship, it continues, but it's at a much slower pace. I mean, you think about your relationship, with anybody, whether it be your husband now or past boyfriends or whatever.
Yeah.
It goes in this cycle where it goes fast early on, and then it slows down. It's more comfortable, but you're still making forward progress because they're still.
I actually think for Laura and Steele, it's kind of the opposite in the sense that they weren't making any progress in terms of their relationship in the first couple of seasons. Like they were, but the interest was there, but like.
Season 2, season 3, it started, especially after the thaw, it started that faster acceleration.
Yeah.
But see, they already had all this stuff behind them already.
Yeah.
And so they've reached this point where the rate of acceleration has slowed down.
Yeah. Well, and now they're having the conversations that they should have had in the beginning. Those conversations where they are learning to communicate properly instead of just jumping to conclusions or.
And when you start, but see, there's two levels of communication. There's the getting to know somebody conversations that extend quite a ways in to the relationship. And those do tend to carry the thing forward fast and furious because they're not that deep a conversation.
Yeah.
When you start getting into the deep conversations, things slow down because those conversations take time and effort, and it just naturally slows the progress down. But it's a change of direction. The forward progress is slower, but the depth starts
They're
increasing.
Basically learning how to appropriately resolve conflicts with one another and learning how to do it with care and compassion and listening to where the other person's at. And that stuff They're trading
the forward momentum for depth momentum.
Yeah. And it's not as flashy or exciting visually, but it's more like meaningful on screen to see them have those moments where she admits that she was scared he was going to leave and he promises he's not leaving, or the scene in the hotel room where she just thanks him for being him, which is like groundbreaking for them because she's always been the kind of person who sort of blames him for being him. Now it's like, thank you for being here and for being you. So I don't know. I love the fourth season because we get those moments. I love I think for the most part, the stories are good. The guest stars are good. This episode's the exception in my opinion, but even like I would skip this. If I were doing a rewatch, I would just be like, we're going to the next one. I'm not going to miss anything. I didn't, obviously, because, this ended up being my episode too. But, as far as, like, there's still enjoyable moments in it. I don't want to, like, chew tinfoil the whole time or anything. So, yeah. But the next episode, actually, we should probably, like, so we've got the freeze on the website, www.SteeleWatching.com. You'll find show notes, links to Amazon US and Amazon Canada, and probably, I don't know, all those shows he mentioned maybe.
I don't think any of those are available in any form of video. I will look, but I don't think they are.
Mod Squad might be.
Mod Squad might be, yeah.
Maybe. But yeah, there's also social media resources such as
the links to the official SteeleWatching Facebook group, Twitter, Instagram pages, and then, of course, the links to the ever-popular but always unofficial Steel Watchers fan group, where we get together and we make fun of people who do that other foreign game. What do they call it? Punchy bunny or
Punch Buggy versus Slug Bug, and I'm putting up a poll. Now that you've done this, I'm putting up a poll. And on that note, the next episode will be Suburban Steel. So
Francis and UFOs.
I like this next one. I'm excited about the next one. So
bye-bye. Right. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey, everybody. Eric and Sara here. Just a quick announcement to let you know that, yes, we do appreciate everyone who listens, participates, and supports the podcast in whatever way you do. But we wanted to give an extra thank you to those who are so graciously giving to be monthly financial supporters.
We are making live streams of our recording sessions available to anyone who is a monthly financial supporter. So not only can you watch us live as we record our podcast episodes, you will be getting access to the raw, behind-the-scenes, unedited version of episodes before they get officially released.
And Sara, does that include our mistakes and screw-ups and our humiliating...
Oh, yeah. Yes, every single one of them.
Every single one of them, yes. So again, this is just an extra thank you to those who are going above and beyond. But whether you choose to become a monthly financial supporter or not, we still love you. We want to say we thank you for your support, your encouragement, and your feedback.
If you want to become a monthly financial supporter, please visit our website at www.steelewatching.com to sign up.